Thank you so much, sir, for that. Thank you so much for that very generous introduction. So good afternoon, everyone. I just had a talk earlier with not the same group, right? They're not in the same batch of participants. But here I am again.
Yes, sir.
Yes, here I am again. I will be talking on HIV 101 on the education on HIV and AIDS. And before I will start, let me just greet the director of the NSTP, Mr. Romulo Romo. Good afternoon, sir. And for the NSTP students, good afternoon, everyone. Again, I am here representing Youth for Reproductive Health Awareness in Cagayan de Oro City as a peer educator to discuss HIV 101 on Love Yourself. So let's begin. Let me just share my screen first. By the way, at the end of my topic, I will give a very good opportunity, which I also joined last 2018. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy the presentation. If you dream to visit Egypt, then this is your chance to visit the Egypt next year. So I will give you that chance, the opportunity to join the forum to everyone. Okay, let me just share my screen. I'm so sorry, I forgot to share that opportunity in Egypt for the first batch earlier. Please just share the link to the participants in the morning session. Okay, so actually you can call me Ajong since it's very short. My real name is too long, so you can just call me Ajong Nang. Yes, I am a Filipino Chinese, but very proud to be Filipino. Okay, so let's begin. They just introduced me. So these are my organizations, current organizations right now where I am a volunteer. So I'm doing volunteer works as a peer educator, a graphic designer, and consultant here in Bangkok, Thailand. So I have the Your Health, Youth for Reproductive Health Awareness, and Youth for Peer Education Network Incorporated Philippines, and Youth for Peer Education Network Incorporated here in Asia Pacific Center in Bangkok, Thailand. I graduated at Cagayan de Oro College FINMA at Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in English, and currently I'm studying Doctor of Philosophy, major in Educational Management. Thank you, Ms. Grisel. And also, I am currently a university lecturer at Stanford International University here in Bangkok. So anyways, let's proceed. So what's in the bag? What's inside my lecture this afternoon? First, we will be talking about STI, not the school that we know in the Philippines, but STI that relates to HIV and AIDS. Okay, so what is the STI the same with STD, and how is it related to HIV and AIDS? Also, we will be talking about, of course, the main topic, which is HIV and AIDS, the basic information of it, and then we have how we can transmit HIV. Okay, so how does a person become infected with HIV or acquire the virus? Number 4 is how can we prevent HIV? Number 5 is if we have HIV or we know someone who has HIV, how can we treat the virus, or is there a cure for HIV? And the last one is the myths and facts about HIV and AIDS. So let's begin. Now, I want you to click the link that I shared in the chat and tell me, what do you expect in my lecture this afternoon? Let me share the screen. Yes. So I want you to write one word or phrases that you expect after this session. I have the bigger word is awareness. I also have treatment. Yes. Learnings. Yes, of course, you will learn. Sex education. Yes, this is actually a part and parcel of sex education. Fun, of course, let's make it fun. Also, you will learn a lot. Abolish stereotypes. That's a very good one. Knowledge, yes. Breaking the stigma. That's correct. We have to break the stigma. This is actually the main reason why we have education on HIV and AIDS, right? It's interactive. Yes, I will ask questions later. Also, we have distinct terms. Yes, enlightenment, very good. But the prevention, that's very good. Also, deep understanding of the concepts and ideas. Yes, that's true. The bigger picture or the bigger word that is very common in your answers are awareness, knowledge, and sex education, prevention, informative, breaking the stigma, and in learnings. Okay, thank you so much for those who answered. Thank you. Now, this time, let me just start my presentation. Let me share the screen. Okay, so here, by the way, as I go through with my lecture, if you have any question, just raise your hand, or you can chat in our chat box here, or you can just raise your hand and then I'll let you say something if you want to add, or if you want to say something or react to it. For questions, you can ask questions later on during our open forum. Okay. Now, let's talk about STI. What do you mean by STI? I think it's very common, right? What is an STI? Sexually transmitted infections. Very good. Thank you, Canwin and Jester, Sarah, Althea. Very okay. Someone answered diseases. Okay, we will talk about the diseases and infections later. Okay, so an STI is sexually transmitted infection. Okay, but there is a difference when we say sexually transmitted diseases. Okay, now when we say STD, not all diseases starts with infections, but most of them do. Okay. When we talk of STDs, it is first begin with infection. Okay. It's when we say infection, it is the bacteria or a virus that enters the body and begins multiplying. And since it is a foreign object, your body reacts to it, okay? Your immune system will react and it will try to kill the virus or the bacteria. That's why you feel a little bit fever or your body has a reaction, okay? Now, when we talk of sexually transmitted diseases or the STD, that is that is an older term, okay? We change that to STI. Why? When we say STD, the disease has a negative connotation. So instead of saying STDs, we now use STIs, okay? STIs. Now, there are many kinds of STIs or sexually transmitted infections. There are 5. Let's discuss each of them. Let's start first with bacterial STIs. Bacterial STIs, common bacterial STIs are gonorrhea. In Tagalog, we call it tulo, right? The gonorrhea has a milky substance that coming out from your organ. It's either from penis or the vagina. And then we have the syphilis, which is a watery-like excretion from your organs. And then chlamydia, chancroid. These are examples of bacterial STIs, okay? If you see a green heart, that means it's treatable and curable, okay? So if you know someone or if you experience these kind of STIs, then don't fret, don't be scared, just visit the doctor and the doctor will give you antibacterial medications. Okay. By the way, I'm not in a medical field, so I will not discuss medical terms here. Now, next one is protozoal, or in World Health Organization, they consider this STI as parasitic STI. We have trichomonas or the tricks, and this is also a treatable and curable STI. And then we have skin parasites. The skin parasites, common skin parasites are pubic lice and scabies. Pubic lice are microscopic lice that is found on your pubic hair, going down to your anus, and sometimes they live on your eyebrows, okay? So, or even on your mustache or on your beard. And you cannot see them with your naked eyes. So you will see them using a microscope. And sometimes they are very itchy. Once they're very itchy, you're not feeling comfortable. So you itch them or you try to scratch them, and then it will then have, your skin will then have rushes, right? So you have an open wound already. So it's an infection already. But don't fret, skin parasites are all treatable and curable, okay? And then another one is the fungal, that is candidiasis, which is also treatable and curable. Candidiasis, if you visit a doctor, the doctor will just give you antifungal cream or antifungal medication so that it can cure fungal STIs. And the last one is the viral STI. A viral STIs, the common viral STIs are genital herpes, genital warts. Genital warts are the kulugo, if I'm not mistaken in Tagalog, right? Genital warts, yes. Also the genital molluscum and hepatitis B. There are 3 types of hepatitis. We have hepatitis A, B, and C. But the A and C are treatable and curable, but the B is not curable, okay? And then the last one is HIV, okay? So STI is a broader or bigger umbrella, and HIV is one of them, okay? And when we say viral STIs, they are treatable, but they are not curable, okay? They are treatable, but they are not curable. We'll talk about treatments later. Now, when we talk of HIV, what is HIV? I think this is very common topic nowadays. What is HIV? Anyone? You can type your answer in the chat box. Human immunodeficiency virus. Okay, very good. Wrong spelling is wrong. Okay, human immunodeficiency virus. Okay, so that's the meaning of HIV. So by definition, let's just go to the meaning. It is a virus from down here. Where's my mouse? Okay. It is a virus that affects and breaks down your immune system, that makes it deficient to humans, okay? Or the immune system of the humans, okay? And then if you leave HIV for a very long time, if it's not treated or if it's not being detected, it will then go and proceed to AIDS, okay, or acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. Now, what's the difference between the two? Other people would say, oh, I don't want to have sex because I don't want to get AIDS. AIDS agad? Hindi pwedeng dumaan muna sa HIV. So it's a misconception that you will get AIDS. No, it's not. You will get the virus. You will get HIV, not the AIDS, okay? The virus is, it will then mutate and then it will then proceed to AIDS if it's not treated properly, okay? So by definition, HIV is the virus that causes AIDS, okay? Now, AIDS is the name of the disease. Now we're talking about disease now. AIDS is the name of the disease which breaks down or cause the breakdown of body's immune system. So our immune system is our protection, is our shield against viruses and bacteria. Once they are attacked, you will feel your body is also reacting, right? But for the HIV, it's like stealthily getting inside your immune system and kill the virus. Okay, we call them the CDM4. Okay, now it leads to fatal infection and later causes death to people. But here we are, and I'm telling you, HIV now is not a lifetime sentence. Okay, other people would say, oh, you have an HIV, you will die soon. No. Okay, I know a lot of people, I know a lot of friends who has HIV, and they still here, they're still living happily. Okay, right at this moment, 2021, 2022, there are advanced science breakthroughs already that can treat HIV, that help you prolong your life. Okay, and we will be talking about that one later. So it's not a death sentence. Okay, you just have the virus and that's it. Okay, so why people are making a buzz on stereotyping people like, oh, you have HIV because you are promiscuous, kasi malandi siya, kasi ganito ganyan. We will break that stigma. Yes, Juster, very good. We will break that stigma. Okay, and we will know later why HIV is not just related to sex. Okay, now let's proceed. How does a person become infected with HIV? There are 4 types of acquisition, not really acquisition because we don't want HIV, right? It's not acquisition, but there are 4 types on how to become infected with HIV. Ang pangit ng term ng acquisition. Okay, so first we have unprotected penetrative sexual intercourse. When we say unprotected penetrative sexual intercourse, it is a sex or sexual intercourse na penetrative, meaning may penetration, may pinasok, okay? And yung pinasok is unprotected or yung pinasukan is unprotected. Okay? Sana clear tayo niyan. Because nowadays, as young people, they have a lot of definitions when we say sexual intercourse. Even sexting is a sexual intercourse. Okay, it's not sexual. It's sex using text messages or exchange of text messages, right? But can you get HIV? No. Okay, you can only get infected using unprotected penetrative sexual intercourse. Okay, how? HIV can enter a person's bloodstream during intercourse through the vagina, through the penis, and through the rectum. Okay, through the rectum. It's for the rectum, it's the anus, okay, the anal sex. And for anal sex, it's not just only relates to men having sex with men. It is also relates to heterosexual sex intercourse, okay? Because there are females who also prefer to have anal sex, okay? Also, another ways to get infected with HIV is the blood and contact with infected blood, okay? When we say infected blood, when you get a blood transfusion of contaminated blood or the blood components, okay? So for example, you need blood transfusion and that blood is transfused to you is contaminated, then of course you will get HIV, okay? So again, by this way of getting infected, this is not sex related, right? So other people already think that when you get HIV, it's about sex. No, it's not, right? And you don't even know na yung transfused na blood sa'yo is already contaminated. Is it your fault? No, right? It's not. So why stereotype people? Why Why stigmatize people? Next, syringe exchange among injecting drug users. So this one is not just the illegal drug users, okay? Even those who are using drugs for medication. If you inject drugs because the doctor said so, the syringe is only single use object, okay? You cannot share it with other people, okay? Especially if you have HIV, or if you don't know you have HIV and you share it to other people, that's a big no-no, okay? So those who are exchanging syringe among injecting drug users, you can also get the virus, okay? And even tattoos, okay? The tattoo artists are using actually small needles, and these needles have very micro holes inside, which can also get the blood, which is contaminated with HIV. So if you have a plan on getting a tattoo, make sure that your tattoo artist is following safety protocols and proper hygiene, okay? And then third one is, I think it's self-explanatory for the picture. It's mother-to-child transmission. And this is very common in Africa, why Africa has a rising cases of HIV because of mother-to-child transmission. Now, in mother-to-child transmission, an HIV positive mother can transmit the virus to her baby anytime during pregnancy or during childbirth or even during breastfeeding. Okay, so here, United Nations Population Fund said that in childbirth, it can lessen the chances of the baby to get infected with the virus if they are delivering it in cesarean section. Okay, but during normal delivery, there is a higher chance that the baby can get the virus. Okay, if the baby didn't get the virus during pregnancy. Okay, and of course, if the mother is positive or a person living with HIV, then she should not breastfeed the baby. Okay, now another fourth one is there are a lot of bodily fluids that can transmit HIV or the virus. We have the blood and blood products, the semen. The semen is the protective liquid or the watery part of the tamod, yes, that covers and protects the sperms, okay? And then the vaginal and cervical fluids for women. And then we also have, again, the breast milk, okay? So breast milk. I think it's common everywhere that they donate breast milk, especially those pandemic times where everything is in lockdown or during a typhoon or a calamity where breastfeeding mothers can't give milk to their babies. So they just, they ask for donations. So just be careful with breast milks too, okay? Next. Nagulat naman ako doon. Okay, anyways. Let's talk about the prevention of HIV and AIDS. Since we know already how HIV can be transmitted, now let's try to educate ourselves on the prevention. As what they said, prevention is better than cure. Now, how to be prevented of getting or acquiring, not really acquiring, transmitting HIV and AIDS. We just follow, according to United Nations Population Fund, we just follow the ABCDE of HIV prevention. Anyone knows what is letter A? Ang makakasagot ay mananalo ng iPhone 13. Abstinence, very good. Flores, Jana Nicole, nanalo ka ng iPhone na may 3 SIM. Ayan. So claim mo lang mamaya, Char. So A is abstinence, okay? When we talk about abstinence, yes, Maria Isabel also answered abstinence, pero hindi siya sure kasi may question mark siya sa dulo. Abstinence is correct. Abstinence means no sex at all. Pigilan ang sarili, okay? Pigilan ang sarili na huwag makipagtalik, okay? So that's abstinence. Based on studies, abstinence is not that effective when it comes to HIV prevention. Why? For young adults and adolescents, the raging hormones is there actually scientifically. So it will turn people to in like, how do I say this? Sexually active. Okay. And if you cannot prevent yourself from having sex, then let's proceed to the other letters. Okay. If you have a partner, sana all, if you have a partner, then let's proceed to B. Okay, ayan, ang dami nang nag-research, ang daming may gusto ng iPhone 13 na tatlo ang SIM. Okay, pero walang Bluetooth, infrared lang po. We have letter B, be mutually faithful. Okay? Why we say mutually faithful? If ikaw lang ang faithful sa partner mo and your partner is cheating on you, wag naman sana, and he or she has different sexual partners, then you will still get the virus. Okay? So, dapat ikaw faithful sa kanya, siya din ay faithful sa iyo. Okay? So, kayo lang dalawa ang sexual partners at wala nang iba. So that of course, no HIV or no STIs included sa inyong relasyon, right? And then letter C is also applicable sa relationships, okay? C is consistent and correct use of condom. Yes, so correct and consistent use of condom. Why I say correct? Because may tamang paglagay and paggamit ng condom. When we say consistent, dapat every time you have penetrative sexual intercourse, you have to use condom, not seasonal. Yung, I don't feel like using condom, so di tayo gagamit. No, okay? So dapat consistent din ang paggamit ng condom. When we say correct use of condom, yes, there is a correct use of condom. Lubricants are also helping condoms to not tear apart. May iba na naninigurado, tag-dalawang condom talaga ang ginagamit, which is not applicable, which is not suggested, because two condoms, when they rub each other, they create friction and it creates a hole. So, hindi na siya safe. So, isa-isa lang. Okay? And then letter D is don't inject drugs. Okay? Don't inject drugs. If your doctor will tell you to inject the drugs, then of course, I think the doctor will tell you why, right? Why it needs to be injected. But if you're just injecting drugs, especially illegal drugs, then don't do it, right? Why do you have to inject illegal drugs? It's illegal. And why do you have to inject? Again, injecting or exchanging syringe from injecting drug users can transmit the virus. Someone raised her hand. Wala? Nagbago na ang isip? Okay, mamaya na lang. Okay. And then letter E is what we are doing right now, education, okay? Early detection, early treatment, and education. For early detection, if you are sexually active or if not sexually active, still take a test, take the HIV test, and if you get detected or if you detected that you are HIV positive, it's not the end of the world, okay? There are a lot of people who are helping, and there are a lot of things or ways that can help you, okay? So once you get detected, an early detection and early treatment can save your life, okay? So the advocacy now is to get tested, okay? And of course, education. So what we're doing right now. So thank you so much, PLV, for having us in educating the young minds of your students as early as now, right? This is a big HIV prevention, actually. Now, going to the treatment or talking about the treatment, if you have friends or you yourself will get detected, hopefully not, with HIV, there is no cure yet for HIV, okay? Why I put here yet, it's because the science or scientists and researchers are still doing their best to find a cure for the virus, okay? And as of this moment, they haven't found any cure yet, but there is a treatment, Okay, what's the difference? A treatment is what we call an antiretroviral treatment. Okay, ARVs are medicines usually taken to stop HIV multiplication. Okay, so because once HIV enters your body, it will multiply. Okay, it will multiply and start to kill your immune system. If you get the ARV treatment, this medicine will stop the virus from multiplying. But that's what we call treatment. Okay, but it is not a cure. The virus is still there. It won't kill the virus. It will just stop them to replicate. Okay, so if it stops to replicate, meaning your immune system will not get overwhelmed with the virus. So you still have this immune system partnered with healthy lifestyle and healthy diet, then to help your immune system, then I think you will have a better chance in living. Okay, prolonged life and prolonged lifestyle. Now, there are myths and facts about HIV that we have to correct, especially on stigma and stereotypes. Okay. Number one is we cannot pass HIV if you are wearing someone else's clothes, okay, or using articles belonging to them. For example, or the things that they touched. For example, towels, toilet articles, beddings, you will not get the virus, okay? Also, this is for HIV only, but for STIs, it's another discussion. You cannot also get the virus if you are caring for children when the adult is HIV positive. We don't call people HIV positive, actually. We go first person first. So we go people living with HIV or the PLHIV, okay? So you don't get the virus if you take care of children when the adult is positive. Also, when you travel on crowded places with a person or people with HIV, you won't get the virus. Hindi po ito COVID, okay? Mas matakot kayo sa COVID. And then a person with HIV or AIDS coughing or sneezing with you. Yan. Sabay-sabay talaga mag-cough at mag-sneeze, no? So you will still not get the virus, okay? This is still not COVID. You will not get the virus, but you will get the virus of why he or she is coughing, maybe another virus, okay? And then sharing food, cups, and plates with a person with HIV, okay? This is very wrong. Let me just share. I have a friend who is in our organization who is a person living with HIV, and his family knew that he has HIV. So what his family did is they separated his utensils, and nakakagigil because it doesn't work like that. He cannot transmit the HIV if they share the plates and the other utensils with his family, right? And then we have hugging or sleeping with a baby or a child or an adult who is a person living with HIV. Okay, that's why other people in social experiments, they just put a placard here like, I am HIV positive, give me a hug. Other people are hesitant to give a hug because they might get the virus. No, you cannot get the virus. Okay, or sleeping with someone who has HIV, you will not get the virus. And swimming in a swimming pool, okay? There is one, I think it's from Facebook, na nabuntis daw siya, nang nag-swim siya and may nag-ejaculate sa swimming pool, and then nag-swim siya on that pool and he got pregnant. That's too impossible, right? Because sperms can die in seconds inside the pool, even if the pool has higher pH level or higher chlorine level, right? The same goes with the virus. The virus will only survive outside the body and outside the blood for milliseconds only, okay? So if it's outside, it will die. So how much more if it's exposed and swimming in a swimming pool, it will die in milliseconds. So you will not get the virus, okay? And two more, caring for someone who has developed AIDS when basic good hygiene is observed, okay? Now here, I'll be talking on AIDS. The AIDS now is you will not get the virus, you will not get AIDS as well if you are following good hygiene. Now, nobody dies of AIDS and nobody dies of HIV. Okay, let me clarify that. Namatay kasi si Mang Tonyo dahil may HIV siya. No, nobody dies of HIV and AIDS. They die because of complications. Okay, if you have AIDS, that means your immune system is very weak. And because it's very weak, you can get or acquire different viruses and different bacteria from the outside, and it slowly kills your immune system. Common one are the easiest one to get the virus is pneumonia and tuberculosis. So they die because of that and not because of HIV. Okay. Also, mosquito bites. Mosquitoes are insects, and mosquitoes are blood-sucking insects. So if the mosquito will bite a person living with HIV and then it will go to you, you will not get the virus, okay? Because mosquitoes, once they suck the blood, they will not go to other people and suck again. They will try to, I'm not scientifically know about this, but they will try to lay eggs using your blood or something. And that's the time that if they're empty, they're now going to another people and suck blood. If they suck blood, they will not inject the blood to you, okay? So you cannot get the virus with mosquito bites. And again, HIV is for humans, okay? Kung ang mosquito ay mukhang human, why not? Charot. So there, mosquito bites. And that's it. Thank you so much for having me again. You can follow me on my accounts, and you can also please follow our Facebook group on Your Health Taguluan on Facebook, and see what other activities you can have for our organization. Thank you so much and have a great day.
Thank you so much po, Sir Ajong. Thank you so much for that very informative talk. Ayan, marami na naman po kaming mga natutunan ngayon. So guys, kung walang nagmamahal sa'yo, just do love yourself by preventing this to happen. Siyempre, safe sex dapat palagi. Alright, now that we are done with our first resource speakers, I would like to ask first if you have questions, clarifications, and other concerns para po masagot po ito ni Sir Ajong.
Someone raised his hand.
Yes, someone raised your hand.
That's me, sir. I would like to ask a question lang po.
Yes.
So before I proceed to my question, I would like first to thank you personally for this opportunity of informing and educating us with this very important, rampant, and relevant issue. So the question, sir, is that for how long would it probably take for our country to end the stigma? Thank you.
Okay, it actually depends on the people, okay? I cannot really say how long can we end the stigma, as long as there are people who are still thinking that HIV is a death sentence, and HIV is from gays, and HIV is from people who are malande, then it will not leave this stigma. Stigma will still be there. And the best way to kill and stop the stigma is to educate people. Educate not just the young people, but also all the people, all the people. Okay, this is to stop the stigma. It's just like education. And once we're educated, we can now stop the stigma and stereotype. So I cannot say really the time.
Thank you again, sir, for this thoughtful lecture. Thank you.
I hope I answered your question. There's one question on my direct message. Does a person living with HIV can still have an active life? Yes, they can still have an active life. If they will follow safe sex, protective sex, and proper medications, then he or she can still have an active sex life. And of course, with your partner, if you are positive or someone who is positive, you can, the best way to communicate, the best thing to do is to communicate with your partner that you have the virus instead of just hiding it, okay? Communication is the best when you love each other. do you have a movie recommendation that talks about HIV awareness? There's a lot of movie recommendations. I'm gonna search first, maybe on your open forum. Do we still have time, Miss Cristel?
I guess, sir, the other questions po, i-address na lang po natin mamaya in the open forum.
Yes,
So,
sure.
okay, let's now proceed to our second resource speaker. May I call on Mr. Dominic De Jesus, NSTP lecturer, to introduce us our second resource speaker, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon po.
Okay. Our resource speaker for today is a former police officer who has actively served Valenzuela City. He is the concurrent OIC of the Valenzuela City Command Center. It is undeniable that this person is a dedicated and passionate public servant. Let us welcome Mr. Donaldo Britania.
Magandang
Sorry,
hapon po
sir.
sa inyong lahat. Nagpapasalamat po ako sa nag-introduce po sa akin. At ganun din po sa President po ng PLB, si Dr. Toralba, sa NSTP po kay Sir Romulo, at sa mga kasama niya po. At sa lahat po ng participants po dito sa webinar. Ang topic ko po ay tungkol po sa role of the youth against drugs and substance abuse. Kung hindi niyo po na itatanong, 22 years po ako sa police service at na-assign po ako ng 9 years bilang anti-drug operative and investigators. At naging advocacy ako po ang drug awareness at naging bahagi po ako ng mga programa ng city government ng Valenzuela, lalo na po sa barangay drug clearing operations. So, hindi man po ako doktor at makakatulong rin naman po ako sa aking sharing sa inyo ng aking mga experiences sa field ng law enforcement. Simulan po natin ang aking presentation. First slide po, title niya. Sulat po itong, i-quote po natin yung sinabi ni Mr. Roy T. Bennett. Believe in yourself, you are braver than you think, or talented than you know, and capable of more than you imagine. Ang illegal na droga po, walang utak. Hindi po siya nagsasalita. Pero bakit may mga tao nahuhook po sa paggamit nito? Kasi nakakalimutan po nila yung kanilang sariling kakayanan. Yun po ang kailangan. Dapat may tiwala po tayo sa ating sarili. Kasi kung wala, definitely, magiging biktima po tayo ng illegal na droga at magiging bahagi po ng statistika ng krimen o ng mga taong napabilang sa gumagamit o nagbibenta ng illegal na droga. Next slide po. All about drugs. What are drugs? So gagamit po tayo ng Mentimeters para makita po natin ang inyong mga responses tungkol po rito. Paano niyo po ba siya naiintindihan? Please po. Engage po kayo para at least ma-process po natin.
Alright guys, the link is already in the chat box. Click nyo lang po yan, then mapupunta po kayo dito sa site.
Sa lahat po ng naka-indicate po dyan ng mga words, totoo po yun, merong licit at illicit drugs. Ito rin po na may mga tawag po sila na katulad ng shabu at may addictive component po siya. At may medical or medicinal value ng mga drugs po. Kaya lang doon pumapasok yung drug abuse. Paano po yun? Sa mga susunod na slide, dito po natin malalaman. Next slide po. Salamat po sa pag-engage. Okay. A psychoactive substance is any substance people take. Change either the way they feel, think, or behave. Katulad na lang po ng isang alcohol. Kapag nakainom po tayo ng alak, nagbabago po ang ating behavior. Ganun rin po yung paninigarilyo. So meron po tayong natural and manufactured drugs. As we go along with the presentation, you will come to know each of them. Next po.
Singin mo, may ano yun.
Okay. Katulad po nitong mga plants. Bago po sila naging illegal drugs, plant muna sila. Na-synthesize po yung cocaine from the cocoa bush plant. Ganun rin naman po yung opiate from morphine to heroin. Then yung marijuana from cannabis sativa, lima, na may component na tetrahydrocannabinol, 9. Ganun rin po yung ephedra plant, kung saan precursor po ito ng methylamphetamine hydrochloride. Kaya kung nagkaroon po ng chemical processing or na-synthesize na po, makikita niyo po yung tawag sa kanila yung ecstasy or yung MDMA at meth. May mga history po yan, especially po yung amphetamine na ginamit during World War II ng Hapon at ng Nazi sa kanilang invasion. Pero kita niyo naman po naging epekto po nito doon sa mga soldiers po na gumamit ay hindi po naging maganda. Yes, they conquer yung kanilang objective. But of course, nung nagkaroon na ng drug abuse sa kanilang katawan, nagkaroon rin po sila ng mental problems. Next po. Why do young people use drugs? Meron tayong tinatawag na modified social stress model. Konsepto po ng mga scientists na kung saan kita po nila na syempre po, those young people po masyadong pressure, maaaring sa pag-aaral or sa pamilya. That is why nagkakaroon po sila ng mga challenges and difficulties. Dito po papasok yung mga risk factors. Next po. I-relate lang natin or i-correlate yung model na yun dito sa naka-indicate sa screen. So pagka binasa po natin siya, ang pinaka-gist po niyan yung choice natin. Kung ano ba po talaga yung gusto natin. Kasi hindi naman tayo ma-hook sa drugs kung hindi natin naging choice po yun. Kung mali po yung pili natin ng barkada. Sabi nga po kanina nung nag-comment, peer pressure. Tama po. Siyempre, kung may peer pressure, definitely may problem yung bata or challenges, let's say inferiority, kailangan niya ng identity, self-identity. So na madali siyang na-hook dun sa ganung bagay. Or let us say may problem po siya sa pamilya. Yes, curiosity is one. Nag-i-experiment po siya. Gusto niya malaman kung anong epekto nito. Pero definitely, it boils down doon sa support group niya around him or her, yung family. So again, it's a matter of choice. Kasi kung sino yung sasamahan natin, that reflects who we are. Katulad po neto, bakit po tayo nandito sa forum na to, nag-i-engage po tayo. Not just because requirement po ito. Because kailangan, may necessity. Hindi ko lang po ito nasabi kanina doon sa unang presentation ko ng morning. Pero dito po naniniwala po ako sa kasabihan nito. Training is the road to freedom from the bondage of ignorance. So definitely, kung na-train tayo on how to resist drugs from our parents, yung life skills na yun na tinuro ng magulang natin, definitely we can achieve our goals in life. Hindi natin gagawin na magiging miserable ang buhay natin. Again, it is a matter of choice, not a matter of chance. Next po. Risk factor. Ito po yung sinasabi ko po sa inyo kanina. Dito naglalaban yung dalawa, yung risk factor at protective factors. Kung ma-outweigh or matatalo ang protective factor ng risk factor, definitely future ng isang tao will be compromised. Lalong-lalo na pagdating sa illegal na droga. Drug is not only a law enforcement problem. Sa tingin ng police, it is for law enforcement problems. But kailangan tingnan natin siya as a social ill, as a social problems. Kasi kung titingnan ng mga police, puro law enforcement, arrest lang sila. Doon lang sila sa supply reduction drive. So nakita nila yung other aspect, yung demand reduction drive. Katulad nitong ginagawa natin is a part of demand reduction drive. We are targeting the non-user, which is at risk, yung mga tinatawag na child at risk or people at risk. At ganun rin yung mga user na nakagamit na. We are trying to revive or we're reviving yung kanilang buhay. Let us give them the second chance. But let us delve more dito sa risk factors. Next slide po. Risk factor about personal factors. Being a woman or a man. Yes, iinom tayo ng alak, ng alcohol. Okay? Ginagawa natin as part of ng ating social gathering or social communications. Eventually, may effect rin yan sa atin. Dahil drugs pa rin po. Kino-consider na drugs pa rin po ang alcohol. Ganon rin po yung mga prescription drugs. Gumagamit po tayo niyan. Pero hindi, minsan mo-over dun tayo sa tolerance level eh. Kaya nagkakaroon ng drug abuse. And other substance po. Kala natin, ito yung gamot dun sa nararamdaman nating pain. And yet, without prescriptions and guided or guidance ng doktor, we abuse yung drugs na yun. Both yung illicit drugs, I'm talking about illicit drugs here. Yung hindi bawal. Next po. Being young in itself, a risk factor. Sabi nga, constant struggle. Totoo naman yun. Kahit sa pag-aaral, di ba? Pumapasok ka na, struggle pa yung pag-aaral. Tinatanong mo sa sarili mo, sino ba ako? Ano ba ako? Ano magagawa ko? Ang dami mong tanong. Siyempre, nag-i-explore. So, kasama yun. Kaya lang sana, we must develop yung ability to cope up dun sa mga challenges and difficulties in life. Let us start the good habits. Kesa yung dumating yung oras, you find yourself miserable na. So, napaka-importante rito yung formative years do individual. Let's say 6 to 17 years old or 8 years old to 17 years old. Doon niya may establish yung kanyang self-identity. Yung mga tanong niya sa sarili niya, siguro kailangan masagot at magkaroon ng maturity level. Next po. Of course, kung merong mental problems, maaaring namanan niya or most likely ay walang support group kahit na may mental problem or may symptoms na pero hindi pa rin sinusuporta ng pamilya. Siguro yun yung kanyang getaway para or kanyang reasons to get out from the miserable life ng na may mental problem na nga ako and yet I have no one to turn to. So most likely makakagamit siya ng illegal na droga. Mas matitrigger yung kanyang mental problems. Next po. Of course, this one is yung inferiority complex. Yes, nag-aaral tayo. Yes, ang dami nating challenges. Lalong-lalo na kung ang kinukuha mong course ay mabigat. Congratulations nga pala sa PLB dahil maganda ang performance nila sa civil engineering. Dahil bahagi rin naman ako ng city government ng Valenzuela. So paano kung hindi mo na-achieve yung desired goals mo? Makaka-apekto ito sa personal development mo. So you need people around you to support you. Keep on striving. Wag susuko, sabi nga nila. Never give up, never give in. Next po. Next slide, please. Itong next slide na to has something to do with the family. Ito yung sinasabi kong support group. Kaya dapat hindi lang natin siya i-treat as law enforcement problem or law enforcement concern. It has something to do with family values. Kaya nga, it should be treated as a social ill or a social problems. Kasi hindi kailangan individual lang ang gaganap. Kasama niya yung kanyang parents, immediate family members around him. Kasi sila yung magbibigay ng positive role modeling. Sila rin yung tutulong para yung persona ng tao ay hindi maapektuhan at hindi magkaroon ng damage. Let's say hindi siya victim ng physical abuse, sexual or verbal abuse na maaaring gawin sa kanya ng immediate family members niya or someone else from the circle doon sa kanyang immediate environment. It is because factor yon. Kasi fragile na nga siya, mahina na nga siya. So, ang gagawin niya is to indulge sa paggamit ng droga. Why? Kasi yun lang yung nakikita niyang groups around him or her doon sa community na yon. So wala na siyang other support groups na sabihin na natin legitimate, understanding, and compassionate to help him or her. So hindi ma-overcome yung environmental risk factor kung yung mismong mga kasama niya ay sila pa ang magti-trigger para mas gumamit ng illegal na droga ang tao na yun. That is why yung sabi ko po sa inyo kanina, hindi lamang po user ang tina-target natin na mabago. Those people na hindi gumagamit. Those people who are moving around the community na tinatawag natin non-users. Kasi sila yung at risk. More at risk and more exposed to become victims. Hindi lamang dahil hindi lamang possible gumamit sila, but because pwede silang maging biktima as a result of drug use of others. Next po. Next slide, please. Okay, of course, iba-ibang society, iba-ibang religious beliefs. Yung diversity is so important. So, dun rin nakaka-apekto yung cultural diversity and religious beliefs, especially if they are encouraging people or their community na gumamit ng drugs. And of course, the other way is kung ang media ay very strong in the campaign, in advocacy drive, in advertising anti-drug campaigns such as this, yung mga anti-drug awareness programs or preventive education, definitely it will help doon sa kinakampaign natin na demand reduction drive. Other challenges po doon sa mga homeless individuals living in the streets, it's because mas prone sila na gumamit kahit wala na nga po silang pera, magamit pa rin po sila. Why? Wala silang support group Well, of course, the other one, ito, yung education is a factor. Sabi nga po nila, yung education ay factor po para maging involved sila sa illegal na droga. Yung aking ginawang study po, yung alternative learning system sa loob po ng Bureau of Jail Management and Penology. Karamihan po sa mga respondents po, both male and female, ay mga nahuli po sa violation ng illegal na droga, yung batas po natin. At lumabas rin po roon, dahil hindi po sila nakatapos ng basic educations, most likely po, nakikita nila yung potential na malaking tulong po yung alternative learning system for the second chance para ma-revive nila yung buhay nila right after ng jail time nila. So, totoo po na yung education is a factor para po makagamit ng illegal na droga. At ito rin po ang dahilan kung bakit gumagamit po sila at nagbibenta. Kasi nga po, sa Pilipinas, kailangan may pinag-aralan ka para makapasok ka sa trabaho. At dapat may skills ka para matanggap ka rin. Then, there is a lot of free unstructured time in which there are no constructive, imaginative, and challenging activities to take part. Well, depende yan sa kung sino yung kaibigan mo, sino yung sasama mo, sino yung associates mo, sino yung mga peer group mo. Kung sila ba ay productive individual or hindi. Kung sila ba ay involved sa sports or hindi. Para makita mo, ma-magnify mo, saan ka talaga patungo. Next po. Of course, yung job opportunities, siyempre kung hindi naman nakatapos po ng pag-aaral, ay wala nga pong job opportunities. Pero remember po, hindi lang naman po yung hindi nakapag-aral ang gumagamit ng illegal na droga. Pati po yung mga may pinag-aralan. At naging bahagi po ako para mahuli po sila. At nakukuha naman po namin yung mga detalye. Sila naman po ay mga nakatapos ng pag-aaral o nakapag-aral hanggang college at mga professional naman po. Pero ganun pa rin po, nagbago ang kanilang buhay kasi dumating yung problema sa kanilang sa loob ng pamilya. I hope sana yung ating mga estudyante mag-aaral na nakikinig simula kaninang maga hanggang ngayon ay hindi maging mahina sa kanilang pagsupil sa illegal na droga. Sa kanila mismo magsisimula yung paglaban. Kapag tinanggap nila, talo sila. Kapag tinanggihan nila, kahit papano, nakaiwas sila. Health services are not provided, or if they are provided, they are not yet youth-friendly. Of course, katulad ng nasabi ko kanina, pati dito, siguro ang kailangan natin, tulungan rin natin ang gobyerno eh. Kasi siyempre, mas matidesign ng government, mas ma-allocate yung mga pondo para sa health and welfare ng mga youths kung hindi sila gagastos sa law enforcement operations. Dahil wala nang gumagamit, so mas ma-allocate yung pondo para sa health and benefits or health and wellness ng mga youth natin. Para sa bagay na yan, siguro kaya po ginagawa natin itong webinar na to, hindi man physically or nabibigay natin na ma-examine sila, but through our efforts, campaigning, educating, it provides a platform to deliver yung mga health services na kailangan nila. Of course, there is law na ginagamit natin for the prevention, proliferation ng illicit drugs, as well as regulations ng illicit drugs. But on the ground, iba pa rin po yung nangyayari. May siguro maaaring yung implementation is another thing. So that is why we encourage everyone na magkaroon ng advocacy or activism para mas magkaroon ng tinatawag na social empowerment paglaban sa illegal na droga. Next slide po. This is a protective factors. Ito yung antidote natin doon sa risk factors. Again, it's all about individual. Nung kanyang personal skills, life skills niya. His ability to make quick decisions or analyze situations. Kung kailangan hindi siya umattend sa party because maaaring may sense siya na hindi magiging maganda yung party na yon for him or for her, Kasi maaring malagyan yun hawak niyang tubig or alak ng isang MDMA or yung ecstasy. So dapat ganun siya ka-bilis to spot yung possible situations. And he knows how to communicate with others na hindi sila magagalit, both non-verbal and verbal. By saying no thanks. Diba? And composed lang siya on how he handled himself in front of these people. He knows how to negotiate in terms of avoiding the situations para hindi mag-compromise ang kanyang safety. Doon kasi pwedeng mangyari yan eh. Saan? Sa peer pressure. Doon tayo nakokot or sabi dito caught flat-footed kapag niyaya tayo ng barkada natin or yung isang barkada natin niyaya at niyaya tayo. We tend to join. Doon natin nakakalimutan yung personal safety natin. So of course, it's a life skills. Kaya kung gusto natin magkaroon ng perfect opportunity in life na maging part ng society, not as a problem, but a solutions or a policy maker, sana wag tayong mag-indulge sa illegal na droga. Choose people who will help you reach your goal. Next po. So environmental protective factors. Again, it's all about support from the family, from friends, from everyone. This is how you want to live your life. Kung gusto mo ba talaga ng mabuti na buhay, na you will experience yung tinatawag na yung tinatawag nating magandang buhay at pagkagising mo umagang kay ganda. So ito yun. It all starts with you and it will end with your family supports and people around you. So what I'm saying is that it's always a matter of choice. Kahit na meron tayong mga batas na nandiyan, kung ang pinili mo is on the other side of the coin is to join with drug pusher and user, definitely dun ka patungo. Mas miserable at ikaw na rin mismo ang nag-destroy sa buhay mo. Next po. So with that, before I give my takeaway, gamit ulit tayo ng Mentimeters on how you see or on how you understand and what your takeaway, personal takeaway sa seminar, sa webinar nito.
Alright guys, nasa chat box na po yung link. Pwede nyo po yung pindutin and you can write down all the takeaways po. Ayan, meron na po tayo.
Napakagaganda po ng inyong takeaway, pero ipapakita ko muna po ang aking personal takeaway. Salamat po sa nag-engage o nag-submit po ng kanilang takeaway. I give credit po sa MMDA FB page po nila. Doon ko po kinuha. Sabi rito, huwag ayaang baguhin ka ng droga. Kita nyo naman po yung dalawang muka. So, kayo na lang po ang mamili sa kanila. Again po, maraming salamat po sa nag-invite po sa akin. At nawa ay magkatulungan po tayo sa isang magandang advokasya para mapalakas po at mabantayan ang ating syudad, ang lungsod ng Valenzuela. Maraming salamat po.
Alright, thank you so much, Mr. Don. Maraming salamat po for that very informative talk.
Good morning po sa
Alright. Alright, thank you so much po for that very informative talk. Okay, now we will proceed to our third speaker. Sir Don, yung mga questions na lang po para sa inyo is i-alat na lang po natin sa open forum mamaya po.
Yes, ma'am.
Ganun na
Salamat
lang.
po.
Okay po, okay. May I call on Mr. Dominic De Jesus, our NSTP lecturer, to introduce to us our third resource speaker, sir?
Okay, good afternoon once again. So our third and last speaker for today is a graduate of political science who has also finished his studies as a master in public administration and is currently studying for his PhD. He was the former chairperson of the Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Valenzuela's Public Administration Department and is now the Vice President for Administration, Planning, and Finance of PLV. A man of integrity, compassion, and good leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, our one and only, Mr. John A. Cabado. Let us give him a round of virtual applause.
Sir Cabado, the floor is yours na po.
Napakahalaga, good morning po sa ating lahat. Napakahalaga ng pag-uusap natin sa ngayon dahil isa ito sa malaking concern na nakikita natin sa komunidad, sa society. Alam naman natin na ang gobyerno ay gumagawa ng kanilang mga alituntunin, mga guidelines para mabigyan tayo ng ideya kung ano ba yung nararapat, kung paano, how we should behave in a community, kung paano tayo dapat umalaw sa isang komunidad. Okay, so una-una po, I would like to say that I am not a lawyer, hindi ako abogado, therefore this discussion is more of on a layman's point of view. Kasi kapag abogado po ang magdi-discuss nito, ang pag-atake po nila sa issue na ito ay more on laws, different ordinances, promulgated. Pero tayo, ang gagawin natin later on, makikita ninyo, na pag-uusapan natin ay kung ano ba yung common scenario mga nakikita natin sa paligid natin. Okay. So, yung mga naunang slides po, around 7 slides, may mga picture po tayo mapakita and I would let you determine kung ito mga picture na ito would fall under yung sinasabi nating bastos na actuations. So, kayo po on your own, magde-decide kayo, sasagutan niyo ang tanong kung ito ba ay within the parameter nung salitang bastos. Okay po, next slide po. So ito po yung objective natin. At the end of the discussion, participants will be able to, number 1, analyze and evaluate the provisions of the Safe Space Act, and number 2, to create a design an environment set up free from gender-based sexual harassment. So hindi lang po tayo nandito para umattend sa ganitong diskusyunan, kailangan din po natin gumawa ng hakbang, mag-create po tayo ng isang atmosphere na wala pong diskriminasyon, whether it is an office setup or a school setup or just a simple environment. Next po. Ayan. So ito po yung unang litrato natin. Gazing or catcalling. Kapag sinabing gazing, ito po yung pagtitig. Tandaan po natin, iba po ang pagtingin sa pagtitig. So dito sa picture na ito, may nakikita po tayo magandang babaeng naglalakad at isang lalaking medyo nakatingin sa babaeng naglalakad. So ano ho sa palagay natin? Ito ho ba ay bawal o ito po ay inaalaw? Ayan, parang uminom ng ata ng soft drink yung lalaki at bumuga, no? Okay, so kayo po ang magsasabi niyan kung pinapayagan po ito o hindi. Next slide po. Yan, isa pa po. Yung mga kababaihan natin sa lipunan, normally, ang tingin po ng mga lalaki sa kanila, sa mga asawa nila, sila ay pambahay lang. Women as a homebody. Hindi po sila dapat payagan lumabas, magtrabaho, o gawin ang kanilang karera sa buhay, o mag-aral pa. Ito ba ay kasama doon sa parameter natin ng idea na bastos po o hindi? Next one. Yan. Madalas po natin nakikita po ito, ano? Minsan po ginagawang katatawanan o isang uri ng pagbibiro ang mga bagay na maaring makapanakit sa mga kapwa natin. Kung naalala po ninyo, siguro a couple of months ago, habang meron pong lumabas sa balita na yung anak ni Kiko Pangilinan at Sharon Cuneta, may naglabas po ng komentaryo na i-rape daw po niya yung babae. So ito ba ay pasok doon sa parametro natin na bastos o hindi? Okay, next one. Yan. Yung depiction po ng mga sekretarya. Ang common na tingin sa mga sekretarya po bilang isang sex object. Kasama po ba sa salitang bastos o hindi? Kung titignan po natin sa picture na ito, yung manager, yung lalaki, medyo may kakaiba po siyang ninanais doon sa kanyang sekretarya. Next one. Okay. Demeaning slurs, mga salitang nakakapanakit laban sa LGBTQIA or lesbian, gay, bi, trans, queer, intersex, and asexual. So dito po sa picture na ito, may makikita po tayong banner or may hawak silang placard na nagsasabing God hates fag. Yung fag po nito would mean faggots, which would demean yung mga kaibigan po natin ng mga gay or lesbian. Next one po. Ayan. So yun po yung mga picture. Later on, kaya po natin mabibigyan po ng tugon kung sila po ay nasa parametro ng salitang bastos. Okay. So bago po yung batas natin, madami pa po tayong mga batas na nabasa, ano? Patungkol sa diskriminasyon. Hindi lang po dito sa Pilipinas, bagkus sa buong mundo. So sisimulan po natin sa United Nations. Ang United Nations po ay isang international organization composed of different countries. Mga bansa po na nagtitipon-tipon na ang layunin ay mapaganda ang mundo natin. So una-una po dyan, noong 1979, meron pong Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. Next one, meron din po tayong World Conference on Human Rights sa Vienna, 1993 naman po. Afterwards, meron din po tayong Fourth World Conference on Women sa Beijing, 1995. At bukod po doon, ang United Nations, meron po silang mga iba't ibang mga advokasya. Isa po sa advokasya nila, ang nagawa po nilang polisiya, yung Millennium Development Goals. And nakalagay po doon sa goal number 3 ng Millennium Development Goals ng United Nations ay to promote gender equality and empower women. Bukod po sa Millennium Development Goals, meron din po silang isa pang universal policy, yung Sustainable Development Goals. And sa goal number 10, ando naman po yung salitang reduce inequality. So makikita po natin na sa buong mundo, meron po silang idea na kailangan po tanggalin ang diskriminasyon sa gender, tanggalin ang diskriminasyon sa kung anumang sexual preference meron ang isang tao. Dito naman sa Pilipinas, we have our Constitution, the fundamental law of the land, na nagbibigay patunay po na ang gobyerno po natin, ang estado po natin ay binibigyan ng ekwalidad ang mga lalaki sa babae. So nakasulat po sa Article 2, Section 14 regarding the role of women in nation building and their fundamental equality, as well as in Article 2, Section 11, which states the right to be free from any form of discrimination. So ito po yung batas natin na nagsasabi na kailangan po irespeto, igalang natin ang dignidad ng bawat isa. So dahil dito po, nagkaroon po ng mas marami pang batas na naglalayon bigyan ng additional na kapangyarihan yung mga babae, i-empower ang mga babae o ang kababaihan po natin. Unang-una po dyan, ang Philippine Commission on Women, isa pong government agency, gumawa po sila ng kanilang policy brief number 11 which states kung ano po yung mga karapatan ng mga kababaihan, as well as Republic Act 9710. Ito po yung Magna Carta for Women. So dito po nakalagay kung ano-ano po yung mga inaasahan na ng mga kababaihan na dapat na ibigay ng gobyerno para sa kanila. So bukod po dito, ang pinaka-focus po ng ating talakayin sa araw na ito ay ang Republic Act 11313 or ang tinatawag na Bawal Bastos Act. So ang batas po na ito ay napirmahan noong April 17, 2019. So medyo bago-bago pa. Pre-pandemic po ito. Kaya medyo mainit-init pa ho. Previously, before the law was enacted, meron pong naunang batas, yung Anti-Sexual Harassment Act of 1995 or Republic Act 7877. So yung Republic Act 77, ito po yung kung i-consider natin yung tatay ng Republic Act 11313 or ang Bawal Bastos Act. Ano po ba yung objective? What is the objective of this law? The aim of ensuring an individual's sense of personal space and public safety, the Safe Space Act addresses gender-based sexual harassment in public areas such as streets, privately owned places, open to the public, and public utility vehicles, among others. It also extends the protection even to cyberspace and provides for prohibited acts and their corresponding penalties. Ano ba kaibahan nito doon sa naunang batas? Yung naunang batas po kasi, ang pinaparusahan po kasi dito, yung mga tao na mayroong moral ascendancy. Okay, next slide po. Okay, so meron pong gap na sinasabi tayo, tinatawag. Ito po yung kaibahan ng RA 7877 at ang RA 11313. So sa RA 7877, the older law recognizes that sexual harassment occurs in work. So sa trabaho lang po. People or complaints can be filed if the actuation or yung mga action na ginawa po ay in relation sa trabaho, sa edukasyon, at sa training environment. So bibigyan ko po kayo ng konting idea ng RA 7877. Halimbawa po, yung mga supervisor, yung mga manager, kung meron po silang work-related insinuation or sexual insinuation sa mga empleyado nila para sila ibigyan ng favorable employment position, yan, papasok po yung 7877. Sa education po, yung mga teacher, yung mga guro na nagbibigay ng motibo sa kanilang mga estudyante ng sexual or illicit affair para lang sila ibigyan ng mataas na marka, okay, pumasa, o magkaroon ng mas mataas na grado. So isa din po ito sa mga halimbawa ng RA 7877. Kasama na rin po yung training environment sa mga gym, sa mga workout facility, na yung mga trainer ay medyo meron pong sexual actuation na ginagawa sa mga trainee o doon sa mga tinuturuan nila. So yun po yung RA 7877. Kung papansin niyo doon sa batas na yun, yung mga inirereklamo ay ang mga tao na merong mas mataas na posisyon kaysa sa mga nagrereklamo. Okay, yun po yung kaibahan ng batas na yun kaysa sa 11313 kay Bawal Bastos Law or Bawal Bastos Act. Kasi sa Bawal Bastos Act, wala na po tayong tinatawag na moral ascendancy. Regardless na po kung sino yung taong irereklamo. Maaring ka-eskwela, maaring kasamahan lang sa trabaho, or maaring mas mababa pa na posisyon kaysa doon sa nagrereklamo. Kasama na rin po dito yung lugar. Dito po sa Bawal Bastos Act, maaari pong maghabla kapag yung prohibited action, ipinagbabawal na galawan, ay nagawa po sa daan, sa street, public or private, and even sa online space po natin, sa cyberspace po natin. Lalong-lalo na po ngayon dahil panahon ng pandemya, most of the students would undergo class activities or class lesson using cyberspace or online learning modes or modalities. So maaring habang sila ay nag-i-interact virtually, maari pong magawa yung mga ipinagbabawal na gawain. So ano rin po yan, nakasaad po yan doon sa 11313. And even classmates, kahit mga ka-eskwela, pwede na pong kasuhan. Ano po, kapag sila po ay merong nagawa doon sa mga prohibited action na iisa-isahin po natin kanina. Hindi na po dito, hindi na po nalilimitahan ng posisyon yung pagkakaso po natin o pagko-complain po natin sa mga prohibited activities. Next one po. Yan, so unang-una po, i-define natin yung salitang gender. Ano ba yung sinasabing gender? Ang gender po ay hindi lang po naaayon sa kung anong sexuality or sexual organ meron physically ang isang tao. Gender also refers to set of socially ascribed characteristics, norms, roles, attitude, values, expectations, identifying social behavior of men and women and the relation against them or between them. So here, ang ibig sabihin po ng gender, ano ho ba yung sexual preference? Ano ho ba yung naiisip ng tao na sexualidad na meron siya? Maaring mangyari ho kasi sa gender na yan na I have a male physical organ pero ako po emotionally, mentally, ang tingin ko sa sarili ko ay babae. Or otherwise, or lalaki. Diba? In our society right now, medyo unti-unti po nagiging open na po tayo doon sa mga ganitong sexual behavior. Okay, makikita natin sa telebisyon, maaring meron tayong kaeskwela, maaring meron tayong kasamahan sa bahay, o maaring tayo mismo. Okay, we have different sexual preference. Okay? Iba po doon sa physical na meron tayo. Yun po yung salitang gender ngayon. Okay po? So ang gender po ay hindi lang po kung anong physical organ meron tayo, more so it is a behavior, a sexual behavior in the society. Ano po yung tingin natin sa sarili natin. Next slide po. So, dito na po tayo. What are the acts of gender-based sexual harassment in public spaces? Ano ho ba yung sinasabing prohibited action, mga ipinagbabawal na sexual harassment in public spaces? Okay, next slide po. So, meron po tayong mga degrees na tinatawag. Okay po? First degree, second degree, third degree. So, dito na po pumapasok yung mga gender prohibited actions po natin. Okay. Unang-una, catcalling or any unwanted remarks directed towards a person, which is commonly done in the form of wolf whistling, paninipol. Okay? Paninipol. Misogynistic, transphobic, homophobic, and sexist slur, as well as unwanted invitation. So dito po sa baba, may nakikita po kayo mga definition ng mga nabanggit kong mga salita. So, isa po sa mga ipinagbabawal sa batas na ito, 11313, yung paninipol, whistling. Yan, kung narinig niyo po yun. Okay? So, bawal po siya. Okay? So, kapag may nakita po tayo, halimbawa, na-appreciate natin yung hubog ng katawan, yung physical na itsura, yung attribute ng isang tao na naglalakad at tayo po ay nag-whistle, sumipol po tayo, calling the attention of that individual, then papasok po siya doon sa prohibited actions. Tandaan po ninyo, kahit na sinong tao ay pwedeng kasuhan po nitong batas na ito. Okay? Kahit na sinong tao, regardless kung lalaki, kung babae, o pwede po siyang magreklamo at maaari po na ireklamo yung taong sisipol po sa kanya. Siguro po, most of you would think na yung mga lalaki, kapag sila ay sinipulan, maghahabla ba sila o Kakasuhan ba nila yung mga sumipol sa kanila? Yung mga tao po kasi vary, nag-iiba-iba po yung perception ng mga tao. There are individuals, there are men na gusto na sila ay na-appreciate. Na gusto nila na na-appreciate ng mga tao yung kanilang alindog. Okay, yung kanilang katawan, for example. I hope that everybody here, most likely sana mga 18 and above kayo, ano? Tama ba? Hopefully 18 and above kayo. SPG ito eh. Okay, SPG po ito. So yun, yung mga lalaki nagbabari po yung kanilang mindset. May mga lalaki na gustong ma-appreciate yung kanilang katawan, kaya minsan ang ginagawa nila kapag sila ay naglalaro ng basketball, naghuhubad sila, nagtatanggal sila ng kanilang baro just to impress people around them. May mga tao din naman, may mga lalaki din naman na medyo konserbatibo, na ayaw nilang pansinin ng kanilang pangatawan, ayaw nila na somebody would make a gesture, positibo man yan o negatibo, sa kanilang pangangatawan. Okay po? So, sir, paano po kung yung lalaki na sinipulan, later on, natuwa pa siya, nag-thumbs up pa siya nung siya ay sinipulan, later on po, pwede ba siya maghabla? O pwede ba niyang kasuhan yung nanipol sa kanya? Well, the answer there po is no, kasi na-appreciate niya po niya. Okay, dito po sa batas nito, sa Bawal Bastos Act, ang mahalaga po dito, if the person felt offended, okay, if the person felt offended, regardless of the motive of the person complained, kahit ho ba na ang motibo nung inireklamo ay just a form of appreciation, hindi disregarded po yan. Okay, that would not form as a defense para sila ay maabsuelto. Ang mahalaga po dito, yung complainant felt harassed. Naramdaman ko na ako ay na-harass, na-offend ako. Yung personal space ko lumiit sa akin. Napahiya ako. Okay, so ito po yung tandaan natin. Napakahalaga po nito. Huwag natin sabihin na, kaya lang naman ako sumipol o kaya lang naman akong na nagbigay ng mga remarks or statement sa iyo ay dahil gusto ko lang naman yung nakita ko eh. Hindi po magiging basehan yan. Hindi po magiging favorable defense ng tao. In fact, magiging admission pa nga yan. Parang he admitted, the person complained, yung irereklamo, admitted na ginawa talaga niya yung bagay na yan. At mas lalo siyang mapapahamak if you would use that as a form of defense. Okay, so number 1, yung paninipol. Tandaan niyo guys, ladies and gentlemen, any person, kahit na sinong tao, pwedeng mareklamo. So, bawal po yung paninipol. Okay. So, ano ba yung misogynistic remark? Transphobic remark, homophobic remark, sexist slur or remark. Ang sexist remark po, or statement, they are indicative of prejudice, stereotyping, or discrimination on the basis of sex, typically against women. So may nilagay po ko dito mga halimbawa. So sa mga kalalakihan, normally, tayo po kasi philosophically, we are in a patriarchal environment. Yun po talaga yung ever since po. Yun po talaga yung stigma sa society. Patriarchal po tayo. Meaning, ang lalaki po ang head ng family. Diba? Tandaan nyo, sa mga pag-aaral natin, parati sinasabi na ang lalaki ang head ng family, ang lalaki ang magtataguyod ng pamilya, ang lalaki ang ganito, ang lalaki ang ganyan. Ang babae nasa bahay lang. So yun parati ang sinasabi. Women take second place. Okay? Mas inuuna po sa society natin yung lalaki as compared sa mga babae. So that was before. Bago po lumabas yung ganitong advokasya, bago po lumabas yung ganitong mga idea, hindi lang ng UN, as well as yung different na bansa na meron po tayo. Kailangan pantayin na ang lalaki sa babae. So yung idea, yung pagsalita, pagsambit nung kataga ang mga babae ay dapat nasa bahay lang. Mali po yan. Mali po yung ganyang pag-iisip. Or dapat nakapalda lang ang babae. So we should remove this kind of discrimination or discriminating remarks. Dapat equal lang kung anong gusto nila isuot, then fine for them. Kung anong gusto nilang karera sa buhay, fine for them. Hindi sila dapat ikahon. Hindi sila dapat ilagay sa isang limitation lang. We are all human beings. We are all human beings. So yun po yung sexist remark. Homophobic remark. They are indicative of fear, hatred, aversion towards persons who are perceived to be actually identified as lesbian, gay, bi, queer, pansexual, and such other persons or diverse sexual orientation, gender identity or expression, or towards any person perceived to or actually experience same-sex attraction. Ano yung mga karaniwang salita dito sa homophobic remark? Hoy bakla, ang tibo. Di ba? Bawal na po ngayon tawagin ang isang individual with a different sexual preference na bakla. Eh sir, totoo naman bakla sila eh. That is not the case. Hindi po yan ang issue. Okay? We should call them by their name. We should identify them as a human being. And for gay or lesbian naman, dapat din naman a form of advice na they would not allow statements being referred to them. Sana naman sa part nila, wag sila pumayag na sila ay tawagan sa ganyang mga pangalan. They should stand for themselves. Dapat sila ang manguna dahil sila yung apektado dito. Another homophobic remark yung ang bakla daw salot ng lipunan. Okay? Naririnig po natin yan. Siguro naman, napakinggan nyo yung kantang Serena. Di ba? Yung kantang Serena. Yung the perception na gay individual have less humanity over an individual who is straight. Hindi po yan. At the end nung song, nung Serena, ano ba yung sabi doon? Kung sino pa yung ganitong pagkatao, siya pa yung tumulong sa tatay. So we should elevate yung kanilang pagkatao, their dignity. Again, they are also human beings. We should look at them as a human being. Misogynistic remarks, slur statements that are indicative of the feeling of hating women. Ayaw ko sa babae. Second class lang yung babae sa lipunan. A belief that men are inherently better than women. Mas magaling kami. Walang kwenta kayo mga babae. But hey guys, ladies and gentlemen, sa Pilipinas, sino ba ang nag-uwi ng unang gintong medalya sa atin? Hindi ba babae? So we should give them the proper respect na dapat meron sila. So ano yung mga karaniwang statement dito? Walang kwenta ang mga babae. Di hamak na mas magaling kaming mga lalaki. So mali po yan. Ha? Dapat sa lipunan natin, sa society natin, pantay-pantay po tayo. Transphobic remark, slur statements that are indicative of fear, hatred, aversion towards person whose gender identity and or expression do not confirm or conform with their sex assigned at birth. Their mindset is that they are male but their physical organ is that of a female or vice versa. May mga individual po kasi who never accepted kung ano yung physical sexual organ na meron sila. May mga ganyan po kasi. Okay? From the very beginning, their mindset, their thinking is that ito ako, different from what I have. Kaya minsan may makikita kayo mga bata pa lang, as young as 5 years old, 4 years old, they act differently. Yung mga bata pa lang, yung mga lalaki na naglalaro ng girls game. Chinese garter, for example. Okay, hindi naglalaro ng moro-moro, hindi naglalaro ng basagang muka. Ang gusto nila yung mga pambabae na laro. Even at that young age. So, ang idea nila is ganito ako. So, yun po yung transphobic remark. Na habang bata pa lang, ang perception nila is they are girl or they are boys different from yung physical sexual organ nila. So, kung papansinin po ninyo dito, first degree po ito, verbal. Meaning, mga words uttered, mga salitang binigkas. Next slide po. Okay, kasama din po dito sa verbal prohibited actions, persistent uninvited comments or gestures on a person's appearance. Halimbawa, may nakita kayo naglalakad dyan. Miss Ganda, hello po. Kahit na totoo maganda yung babae, for example. O kaya, yung mga iba naman, hoy, pogi. Okay, again, katulad ng binanggit ko kanina, maaari magkaroon different views yung mga lalaki. Yung iba, conservative. Yung iba, okay lang naman na sila itawagin pogi. The issue here is, sila ba ay na-offend o hindi? Ayaw ba nila doon sa sinabi or statement uttered ng mga tao? Okay po, so mahalaga po ito ha. Dati-dati kasi, it is an expression, okay lang na pag may nakita tayo maganda, for example, or sexy, for example, uy, sexy. Miss Maganda, ano pangalan mo? Pero we should remember na mali po yan. Kasi it is considered as a bastos word or words. Okay po, kahit na ang motive lang po natin ay na-appreciate natin, mag-call tayo ng attention. Kasi kung ayaw ng taong tinawagan natin at na-offend siya, then malaking kaso po yun para doon sa nagbanggit ng salita. Next one, relentless request of personal details. Yung relentless means paulit-ulit. Matyaga siyang nagtatanong ng personal detail. Hello miss, ano pangalan mo? Ano number mo? Saan ka nakatira? Kasi there are people na ayaw nila ng intrusion. Ito yung sinasabing personal space, ayaw nila magambala. Sa mga kabataan, this is a common thing na ginagawa nila, no? Kapag may nakita sila na nahangaan nila or hinangaan nila, and magiging relentless sila na kunin yung mga pangalan, phone number ng mga tao na gusto nilang to come in close contact. Next one is statement or sexual comments and suggestions. Okay? Yung mga komentaryo, yung mga statement na binabanggit ay merong sexual thing or sexual behavior or mga may sinasuggest sila, ang laki naman ng katawan mo. Ang ganda naman ng katawan mo. Ang puti mo naman. Okay? So this is wrong. Even if you would just kino-commend natin yung physical feature ng tao. Kasi yung iba, again, nagva-vary na naman yung mga tao. Yung iba, ayaw na pinapansin yung kanilang katawan. Next one, any advances verbally done, unwanted and threatened one's sense of personal space and physical safety. Medyo nakakatakot na ito. Kasi medyo dinadirect na yung word sa personal na feature na isang tao. Ang laki naman ng ganito mo. Okay? May napansin niyo may mga dot ako diyan para at least maging ano rin tayo, maging maingat din tayo. Kaya maging maingat din tayo kung paano natin i-elaborate itong mga bawal na ito. Next one, persistent telling of sexual jokes. Yan, mga biro. Okay? Mga biro. Whether verbally done, electronically, sa text messages of sexual names, mga pangalan. Instead of calling somebody yung name niya, yung pangalan niya, Eduardo, Ron, Steven, yan. Instead of calling them their own name, ang tinatawag ito, siguro may naririnig kayo, no? Hoy, Joe, ... Siguro naman may idea kayo kung ano yung ... na yun. Yun ang tinatawag. Siguro, kaya tinawag yun because yung physical attribute niya is different from the rest. Kaya yun ang naging, tayo mga Pilipino, minsan, ang tawag natin doon sa mga taong hindi kilala is based on physical feature. Ay yung negro ba? Ay yung kalbo ba? Ay yung maliit ba? Yung pandak? So dito, ang tawag na doon sa tao, yung distinction kung ano yung sexual or physical feature niya na kaiba doon sa the rest of the crowd. And yung minsan may naririnig pa nga ako kahit ng mga bata Hoy, pek! Pek times 2. Yun ang tawag niya, no? Instead of calling yung pangalan ng tao, ng babae, pek times 2 ang tawag niya sa kanya. Next one. Next slide po. Yan. Ito na yung mga penalties. So, mabigat yung penalty. Dati-dati, akala natin okay lang. Minsan, giningitian lang natin kung may naririnig tayong mga komentaryo, sexual comments, or sexual slurs. Ngayon, may penalty po. If the person, yung tao na sinabihan mo nung sexual statement na yun ay na-offend, maaari po niyang kasuhan yung nagbanggit o nagsalita. First offense, yan. Yung unang beses na nagsalita or merong binanggit na sexual slur or sexual statement yung tao, kapag kinasuhan at napatunayan, ito po ang kanyang penalty. Magbabayad po siya ng 1,000, a fine of 1,000 pesos. And community service of 12 hours at a-attend pa siya sa isang gender sensitivity seminar. Okay? 1,000 is not small. Mabigat na ang 1,000 sa panahon ngayon. Ang community service of 12 hours, magwawalis ka sa barangay, gagawa ka ng mga iba't ibang mga chores sa barangay, uutusan ka sa loob ng 12 oras. And 12 hours is 12 hours. Madami ka na pwedeng gawin dyan. And syempre, a-attend ka ng seminar. First offense yan. Ayun, kapag inulit mo, mabigat na ito. May pagkakulong na. Maaari ka na makulong. Okay? May pagkakulong na. Sir, what does that mean? Halimbawa, ibig ba sabihin nun, may yung isang nagreklamo. Okay? Tapos napatunayan na yung nireklamo, ginawa talaga niya yung prohibited action, yung mali, at na-serve na niya yung kaso niya, yung second offense ba na yan? Does that mean to say, doon sa the same na tao, the same individual, para masabi na second offense na niya? Hindi po. Hindi po. If it is done sa ibang tao, at nakita sa record na this is the second offense na ginawa nung nireklamo, nung akusado, then maaari po siyang makulong. Imprisonment. Ang tawag po dito sa the legal term of this period ay arresto menor. Makukulong po ng 6 hanggang 10 araw. Yan. Or siya po ay magbabayad ng 3,000 piso in the form of a fine. Sa third offense, imprisonment din po na mas mataas. 11 days to 30 days. Okay? So, yung nagre-range po yung araw magmula sa 11 na araw na makukulong hanggang sa 30 days. So, the court would would decide kung ilang araw ka po makukulong. Pero ito po yung pinaka-time frame na 11 to 30 days. Or a fine of 10,000 pesos. So dun sa unang offense pala yun. I mean dun sa unang degree pa lang po yun. Verbal. Kaya nagsalita ka pa lang. Wala ka pang ginagawa. Wala ka pang overt action. Next slide po. Second degree. Yan, medyo mabigat na ito. Demonstration. Kanina salita lang. Dito, medyo meron ka ng actuation. Meron ka ng ginagawa other than just speaking. So ano po yung second degree or demonstration? Public masturbation. Mga exhibitionist. There are people who behave differently po. They have psychological or mental problem, kaya nila nagagawa ito. Masturbating in public. Okay, so kapag may nakita kayong exhibitionist, ayan, call authorities immediately. Okay, para ma-apprehend ka agad yung wrongdoer. Flashing of private part. Pinapakita yung maselang bahagi ng katawan niya. Groping. Okay, kapag sinabing groping, medyo may paghimas na. Making offensive body gestures at someone. Naalala nyo, in social media, yung mga parang sexual dance, for example. Halimbawa, kapag may nakita kang tao and then you are making sexual moves, sexual dance sa kanya, or even in public, kahit na wala kang wala kang tinutukuyan, basta in public, you just did sexual dance, yung sayaw halimbawa ni Hayden ko, for example. So, that may be construed as within the parameter of second degree demonstration and other sexual lewd sexual action. Minsan yung mga lalaki, boys will be boys, pero kailangan they also should behave accordingly. kung ano ba ang nararapat sa society. Minsan yung mga lalaki, they would horse around. Kaya nag-sexually behave sila na parang pangkatatawanan lang. So if somebody is offended doon sa nakita, hayari sila. Pwede silang makasuhan. Any advances that is physical, unwanted, and has threatened one's sense of personal space and physical safety, which may include leering, pamboboso, and intrusive gazing, nakatitig. Again, kanina binanggit ko, iba yung nakatitig sa nakatingin lang. Although, legally speaking, wala pong number of seconds para masabi na ikaw ay nakatitig. Hindi po sinasabi ng batas natin na kapag ikaw ay nakatingin sa isang tao sa loob ng ganito segundo, nakatitig na po yun. Tinanggal po yung ganung idea, no, para magkaroon po ng leeway yung batas. And yung nakatitig po na ito, siguro po may idea kayo kung ano ibig sabihin na nakatitig o kung paano ginagawa yung pagtitig. Siguro kung nakatingin po ng around 5 minutes sa maselang parte ng katawan ng isang babae, that would constitute as nakatitig na. Unlike sa nakatingin lang. Nakatingin in passing lang po kapag dumaan lang. Nakita mo lang. Pero kapag ikaw ay tumitig na at halos mabali na yung ulo mo sa kakaikot, well, that would be construed as nakatitig. So maging maingat po tayo dyan. Minsan po, and even ako, I myself, I would like to refrain. Ano? Kasi minsan, there are certain scenarios din po minsan kasi na kapag ikaw ay nakaupo, lalo na sa jeep o kung saan man po, and then ikaw po ay nagme-meditate or may iniisip kang bagay na nasa kalaliman ka po ng estado ng pag-iisip na yon, minsan hindi mo po napapansin na nakatitig ka na po pala sa isang object. So we should be very cautious. Dapat maingat po tayo. No? So kapag tayo po ay nakatitig sa isang tao at talagang na-offend po siya doon sa titig natin, naku po, we may be cause of alarm po yan. Again po, hindi natin pwede sabihin na wala akong motibo sa iyo. Kasi po, ang batas po natin, ang binibigyan po niya ng pansin, ano yung naramdaman nung nagreklamo. Siya ho ba ay na-offend sexually? Siya ho ba ay na-harass sexually sa pagtitig mo? Then that is enough. And also yung leering, pamboboso. Diba? Huwag natin pong sabihin, ano, this is common mistake ng mga kalalakihan. Minsan po, we blame female kung bakit sila napapahamak. Okay? Most of the time, yun po yung iniisip ng mga lalaki. We blame female kung bakit sila napapahamak. Eh kasi ang iksi ng suot niyang short. Peck squared short yung suot niya. Kaya siya narip. Kasi overhanging yung blouse na suot niya. Kasi plunging yung neckline ng suot niyang t-shirt. Kaya ko siya binusuhan. Sila ang nag-initiate. Hindi po, tandaan po natin, walang sino man po ang gustong mapahamak. Okay, walang sino man po ang gustong mapahamak. Therefore, kung halimbawa po may nakita tayo ng ganong instances, halimbawa lang po, halimbawa sa jeep. Minsan sa jeep po, pag sumasakay yung mga kababaihan po natin, nakakalimutan po nila na yung suot nila ay medyo would show some body aspect po nila. So tayo po, dapat we should veer away. Dapat po kapag may napansin tayo, immediately po. Kasi once na talaga tinitigan pa natin at talaga baka lumapit pa tayo, itunutok pa yung mata natin doon sa nakita nating parte ng katawan ng babae, ako po, delikado po na tayo dyan. Okay, so leering is prohibited. Okay, pamboboso. Kasi yung sinusuot nila, according to their convenience, kung gusto nila na maiksi yung suot, then so be it. That should not be a basis kung bakit sila mga pahamak. Yung mga sinaunang tao, yung mga magulang po natin, yung mga lolo po natin, they would always call the attention ng mga anak nila na gano'n yung kasuotan. Again, that's a traditional thinking po yan. Ngayon po, kailangan din po natin i-adjust yung pag-iisip natin kung ano ang modern society. And since pinapayagan ng environment po natin yung ganong kasuotan o pananamit, then let us give them the opportunity to be convenient. Next slide po. What are the penalties? May mga penalty din po dito. For first offense, a fine of 10,000 pesos, community service of 12 hours, and gender sensitivity seminar for first offense. For second offense, imprisonment for 11 to 30 days, a fine of 15,000 pesos, and on the third offense, yan, mabigat na po ito. Maaring hanggang 6 na buwan na po ang pagkakakulong. A fine of 20,000 pesos. So kung papansinin niyo, mas mabigat ito, yung demonstration kaysa verbal, kasi si verbal is more of statement lang. Eh dito po, meron na pong nakita. Nakita yung mga tao. Next slide po. Third degree, physical advances. Number 1 po is stalking. Okay, stalking. Ano po ba yung stalking? It's the conduct directed at the person involving repeated visual or physical proximity. Nakikita po siya na nandyan. Nakatitig, sumusunod, okay, tinutuntun kung saan pumupunta yung taong ini-stalk. Okay, na ayaw nung complainant. Ayaw niya sa sinusundan. Non-consensual communication. Text ng text. Text ng text. Binlock na nga doon sa number na yon, pero si stalker would find means to communicate, gagawa ng sulat, magte-text na naman sa ibang mechanism just to make a communication or a combination thereof. Here, these actions would cause or will likely to cause a person to fear for his own safety. Siyempre, nakakatakot na, may sumusunod na sa'yo. Kamali mo kapag naglalakad sa gabi at madilim, maaring may mangyari, hindi maganda. So there is now the idea of safety. And the complainant may suffer emotional distress, natatakot na siya. Okay? And this is also, or this may be accompanied by touching, pinching, brushing against the body, yung panimple, no? Chancing. Yung simplehang galawan, ninja moves, ika nga. Sexual ninja moves. And the person is offended. Eh sir, hindi ko po sinasadya. You should be careful. Diba? Hindi ba sinasadya yung 10 segundo ka na nakahawak doon sa hita nung babae? Well, hindi na po sinasadya in term na yun. Okay, so chancing po ang tawag dito. Ano? Next slide po. Okay, mas mabigat na yung penalty kasi there are sexual actions na, lewd sexual action na ginawa. We have a law sa revised penal code, acts of lasciviousness. Okay? Ito po, simple acts of lasciviousness po ito. Kaya nga po kung titignan niyo yung mabilisan na nagalawan po ito eh. Kasi doon sa acts of lasciviousness, talagang hinawakan na po yung maselang parte ng katawan. Pero dito po, simple acts of lasciviousness, medyo nadampi lang yung kamay doon sa katawan. Eh sir, nadampi lang po naman sir eh. Again, katulad ng binanggit kanina, we should be careful. Yung personal space, kapag nakita natin masikip na yung daan, huwag na tayo tumuloy. Di ba? Eh, ginagawa natin, masikip na nga yung daan, naglalakad yung bahay, sisingit pa tayo. So there's this possibility na magbabanggaan tayo. Magkakaroon ng physical attachment yung katawan natin. So here, the penalty of imprisonment is, for first offense, from 11 to 30 days, a fine of 30,000 pesos, which include a seminar. For second offense, 1 month here, 1 month and 1 day up to 6 months po ito, fine of 50,000 pesos. And lastly, yung maximum period po ng arresto mayor hanggang 6 months po yung third offense and a fine of 100,000. So napakalaki na po ng babayaran na penalty ng taong irereklamo, ng offender. Next slide po. Noong nagsimula yung or before pandemic, during the pre-pandemic, may nabalitaan siguro kayo na sa isang public utility vehicle, sa isang jeepney, yung babae nakasakay sa harapan, and then yung driver bigla niya inilabas yung kanyang genital at nag-masturbate po siya. Tapos yung babae na sa sobrang stress, natakot po siya, nagkaroon ng mental breakdown yung babae na nakakita nun. Minsan naman po, sa mga sasakyan din, kapag natutulog, ito madalas na nangyayari po ito, ano? Kapag biglang, minsan, kunwari natutulog yung lalaki just to make chancing para na ma-chancing mahipuan yung babae. Okay. Minsan yung kamay nakalagay sa bar, sa taas, tapos biglang babagsak, tatama doon sa katawan ng babae. Kung meron po tayong proper foresight, meron po tayong proper forecasting, inaantok tayo, alam natin maaari mangyari ito, then we should control ourselves. Again, we should be careful kasi maaari mangyari. So here, kapag ang perpetrator po ay mga driver, makakansela po yung kanilang lisensya. And then, masususpinde din po yung sasakyan, hindi po siya maaring bumiyahe sa kalsada. Meron din pong sanksyon yung may-ari ng sasakyan. So kailangan maging maingat po. Kasi nagkaroon po ng issue regarding sexual harassment on or inside vehicle po, ano? Yung mga Grab driver, yan. Minsan po kasi may nangyayaring ganyan. So these are the additional penalties po. Next slide po. Okay. So saan po tayo hihingi ng tulong? Where should we seek assistance? Yan. So in public places, streets, roads, alleys, parks, kapag ginawa po ng drivers, kapag malapit po sa City Hall, kapag nasa loob ng mall, ng bar, public establishment, ito po yung pwede natin hingan ng tulong. So si local government unit, meron po silang anti-sexual harassment hotline or nearest police precinct. Meron po silang Women's and Children's Protection Desk. Sa local Social Security Development Office, sa PAW. Sa street naman, may mga traffic enforcer po tayo dyan. I-call natin attention nila. Takbo tayo kaagad. Lumapit tayo sa kanila. Okay? Sabihin natin na Mr. Traffic Enforcer, may ganito po ako nakita, meron pong ganito nangyari sa akin. And it is the duty of any government employee to act immediately kapag meron pong ganyan sumbong sa kanila. Okay? Sa mga PUJ naman po, PUV, sa LTO, again, local traffic enforcer. If the prohibited action is being done within or near any local government unit, office or offices, meron pong anti-sexual harassment desk officer ang local government unit. Dito sa Valenzuela, meron po tayo niyan. Tapos sa mga mall, sa loob ng mga establishment, meron pong kanya-kanyang anti-sexual harassment officer na dapat dine-designate yung establishment. Isa po sa requirements sa kanila na magkaroon to have their own anti-sexual harassment officer. Yun po yung trabaho niya. Okay po, next slide. Okay. Again, because of pandemic, activities, classes are done through online management system. So ano ho ba or paano ho ba nagkakaroon ng gender-based online sexual harassment? Ito po yan. So students be very aware of these different sexual harassment actions that may be done using social media, using any online platform. Okay, it includes any acts that use information and communication technology in terrorizing and intimidating victims through, number one, or letter A, threats, whether done physical, psychological, emotional, unwanted, sexual, misogynistic, transphobic, homophobic, sexist remark. Kanina binanggit natin. The only difference here is the action is done online. Okay, hindi verbal na may face-to-face. Here, online conversation or online statement, okay, is being done. So kahit na ano doon sa mabinanggit ko kanina na communicated through virtually, gender-based online sexual harassment po yan. Invasion of the victim's privacy, cyber stalking, parati nakikipag-communicate sa iyo sa Facebook ninyo, sa Twitter, and then any platform, nagbibigay siya ng mga messages na wala namang kwenta, sunod-sunod. Okay? So, aside from, meron po kasi tayong pwede ikaso yung prying the privacy. nung individual. So bukod po doon, dito po pwede siyang kasuhan ng online sexual harassment. Uploading and sharing without consent of the victim any form of media that contain photos, voice, or video recordings with sexual content. Nag-send ako kay ganito ng photo na wala naman siyang permiso. Di ba? Na halimbawa, naka-bikini halimbawa siya. Private yung photo na yon. So meron po tayong maaari maikaso. Aside from yung cybercrime law natin, ito po yung gender-based online sexual harassment is another criminal action that may be filed against the perpetrator. Any unauthorized recording and sharing of any victim's photos, videos, or any information online. Minsan ang ginagawa natin, pinapalitan natin profile natin. Inalalagay natin yung profile ng ibang tao. Yan. Na wala siyang consent. Impersonating identities of victims online or posting lies about victims to harm their reputation. So these are the examples of online sexual harassment or gender-based online sexual harassment. Mabigat to, Mabigat itong prohibited action. So we should be very careful with what we do. We should think before we click. And tayo here at PLV, we have our memorandum of understanding regarding the use of online platforms, how we communicate with our instructors, how we communicate with other students, with our classmates. In the outside world, sa mga participant po natin who belong sa TAFGIP, napakahalaga din po nito, kaya kailangan maging maingat po tayo kung ano po yung isesend natin online. Even though if it is a joke, kahit na biro lang po yan. Kailangan isipin po natin na mabuti yung mga gagawin po natin mga aksyon before we really implement that action, bago po natin gawin yung action na yan. Kasi po, to those of you who are employees of the government sa TAFGIP, may malaking kaparusahan po ito. At maaari pong magkaroon ng problema tayo sa pagiging empleyado natin sa gobyerno. Next slide po. So here, ito po yung penalty. Kapag online po yung violation. 6 months and 1 day to 2 years. Yan, in 4 months. Ang bigat na po. And a fine of not less than 100,000 pesos, but not more than 500,000 pesos. Kalahating milyon po ang maaaring penalty dito. Kaya we should be very careful. Maging maingat po tayo sa mga gawain po natin. Paano po tayo gagalaw? Ano po yung mga messages, statements na i-message natin online. Next slide po. Where can a victim of online gender-based sexual harassment file a complaint? Saan siya pwede mag-file? Maaari po sa PNP natin, maaari po sa Department of sa NBI, Office of Cybercrime, Department of Justice. So yun po yung mga government agencies kung saan po siya po pwedeng magreklamo. Next slide. So ano po yung tip na po pwede natin gawin? Practical tips. We should save digital evidence. Kapag may na-receive po tayong text, screenshot po natin, ebidensya po natin yan. Electronic evidence is allowed nowadays because most of the things that we do is done electronically or through online. Huwag natin burahin yung mga messages nila. Huwag natin i-delete. I-save po natin yan. This will form as a proof that the prohibited action was done electronically. And then we should take note of yung URL, web address, social media account ng perpetrator para mahuli siya kaagad. Para magkakaroon siya ng pagkakakilanlan. The Department of Justice will do the rest. To make a printout of the content being complained of by opening a browser on a laptop or desktop, going to pertinent account page and print the said web page. Okay? And then contact authorities. PNP, we have the anti-cybercrime group, the complaint desk. Pero we also should be very careful in making printout nung gagamitin natin sa ebidensya. Baka naman mamaya, yung piniprint natin na maari mag-ebidensya natin, baka naman mamaya, yun naman yung maari ikaso sa atin. So kailangan we should call authorities and let the authorities do their job. Next slide po. qualified gender-based street, public places, and online sexual harassment. Kapag sinabi pong qualified, mas mabigat po yung kaparusahan nito. To members of TAFGIP na nagwo-work sa government, please take note of letter E. Magiging qualified po kung ang perpetrator ay empleyado ng gobyerno. Kung yung nagbanggit ng sexual joke ay empleyado ng gobyerno. Kung yung nag-text, yung nag-send ng mga messages, nag-send ng mga sexual content ay empleyado ng gobyerno, qualified po ang maaari kaso sa atin. Men in uniform, yung mga miyembro ng PNP, Armed Forces. If the offended party, yung magrereklamo ay minor de edad, senior citizen, a person with disability, or a breastfeeding mother. Halimbawa, isang establishment, walang breastfeeding station. Andun yung nanay, nagpapa-dede using her breast, breastfeed. Ikaw naman, habang may nag-breastfeed doon, tumayo sa harap niya, tinitigan mo pa. Worst of all, kinunan mo pa, pinicturean mo pa. So magiging qualified po yung gagawin natin. And also, if the action took place sa loob ng PUJ, PUV, mga public utilities. Next slide po. In the workplace, napakahalaga din po yan. Okay? If the action, kapag yung prohibited act po ay ginawa, may cause detrimental effect on the conditions of individuals' employment or education, job performance or opportunities, yan, pwede pong makasuhan ng 11313. A conduct of sexual nature and other conduct based on sex affecting the dignity of a person which is very unwelcome, unreasonable, and offensive, whether done verbally, physically. Minsan po kasi, in the workplace, in employment, minsan nakala ng mga nagtatrabaho, they are just kidding around, nagbibiroan lang sila. Hindi nila alam na yung work environment ay hindi lang sa kanila. There are other individuals na nasa work environment who do not have the same perception as they have. Na sila po ay medyo traditional, na sila po ay medyo conservative. In the workplace, since kaya tinawag na workplace lugar ng pagtatrabaho So horsing around, kidding around should not be done in that place, Dapat trabaho ang ginagawa. And then yung mga uttering sexual jokes, kahit puro mga lalaki, tandaan again, katulad ng binanggit ko, hindi lahat ng lalaki pare-pareho na pag-iisip. Iba, conservative pa din mag-isip up to now. Next slide po. So also, if there is the action would create an intimidating, hostile, humiliating environment to the receiver. Kapag napapahiya siya, kapag ayaw na niyang bumalik doon sa lugar na yon dahil siya ay na-humiliate. Dahil palagay niya hindi na private yung area na yon. Yung kanyang personal space ay na-encroach. It may also be committed between peers, magkakaeskwela, magkakaibigan. So we should respect everybody. We should respect the dignity of everybody. Next slide po. What are the duties of employees and co-worker? Of course, to refrain from wag sila for them not to commit any act of gender-based sexual harassment, and to encourage. To discourage, not to encourage. Pag encourage natin, we would be committing, but to discourage the conduct. Kapag may nakita silang person or group doing that prohibited action, for him to call their attention. Kasi empleyado siya. Huwag niyo gawin to. This is wrong. To provide emotional social support to employees na naging victim ng gender-based sexual harassment. Kasi kailangan na matulungan, kailangan na the moral support, pagdating doon sa mga victims should be there. And of course, to report actions of gender-based sexual harassment. Next slide po. Here, I included that programs and policies alone do not stop sexual harassment or abusive. Kahit na napakaganda ng polisiya natin, kahit na we have the perfect government policy, perfect organizational policy regarding anti-sexual harassment or abusive conduct. Pero kulang ng implementation, kulang ng social orientation, kulang ng advocacy. Then baliwala po yung mga programs and policies. To end this discussion, parati ko po binabalikan yung idea na respect begets respect. Good morning po and thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much po, Mr. John Cabado, for that very informative and educational talk. All right, now guys, that we are done with the talks, punta naman po tayo sa ating open forum. I am requesting everyone to please comment all your questions, queries, clarifications, and sharings if there is sa ating comment box. For sure, ang ating mga speakers po ay matutuwa na i-accommodate kayong lahat, especially your questions. Okay? If you have questions, guys, please wag po kayong mahiyang mag-chat. Alright? Meron po bang mga questions tungkol sa ating mga talk kanina? Ayan. So far, wala pa po. Baka pinaprocess pa nila yung mga questions. Huwag kayong mahiya, guys, magtanong. Kung may right mid ba. Charot. Huwag kayong mahiyang magtanong, guys, kung may questions kayo. Yan. Gusto yan sagutin ng ating mga speakers. Ayan, from Miss Honey V. Joseph. Opinion po about government steps or programs about drug prevention. Sir Don? Sir Don, Britannia, are you around po to address Miss Honey's question? Sir Don?
Yes po. Napakaganda po ng tanong. Kung meron po ba tayong government programs and response for advocacy po ba? Or for anti-drug operations? Clarify ko lang muna po. Yung tanong po ba natin is tungkol po sa demand reduction or supply reduction drive?
Miss Honey? All right. Are you still there, Miss Honey? Sir Don wanted to clarify something lang po. In general po yung approach po.
Okay. Sige, in general.
Thank you po.
Okay, in general, then tayo mag-focus sa demand reduction drive. Well, of course, base dun po sa Republic Act 9165, otherwise known as the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002, holistic po yung ating anti-drug abuse programs po. May vision po tayo. Siguro 2030 po, dapat drug cleared na po tayo. On the ground, ito po yung ginagawa. Kakaroon po tayo ng mga preventive education sa bawat barangay, sa mga bawat opisina, yung workplace, school-based, community-based, at sectoral-based ng anti-drug abuse programs. Para ma-achieve po natin yung ating goals na drug-free Philippines. So, gano'n po ba ka-strong yung ginagawang preventive education program? Very strong po kasi lahat po ng barangays, lahat po ng opisina or mga government offices as well as private institution or corporations ay part po ng advocacy na to. Sa Valenzuela po, let's say for example, Valenzuela, ginagawa po ito. Hindi po makakapag-renew ng business permit ang isang kumpanya kung ang kanyang company ay hindi po magkakaroon ng tinatawag na drug education sa workplace. So ganun po ang regulations. So may involvement ng local government as well as private sectors. Sa schools naman po, meron po tayong programa na kung saan sa MAPI po ay may inclusion po nung about sa drugs. Aside po doon sa ating mga PNP personnel na kung saan nai-invite po sila mag-talk about the ill effects ng illegal drugs sa bawat eskwelahan. So marami pa pong activities na patungkol po dito sa anti-drug prevention or yung preventive educations. Hindi lamang po ang police ang involved, ganun rin po yung Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency na kung saan sila yung inutusan ng batas na manguna both sa supply reduction drive at demand reduction drive at realization ng drug-free Philippines. Yun lang po.
Thank you so much po, Sir Don, for addressing that question po. Ayan, sana po nasagot po ni Sir Don yung question mo po, Ma'am
Salamat.
Honey. So, thank you, sir. Let's now proceed to Joshua Jose. Sir Joshua Jose, you want to ask live? Yes, you can. Yes, you may po.
Good afternoon, everyone. This question is for Sir Andaya. We all know that the protection on women about the harassment has been relevant in our country. However, on the other hand, there is some harassment on men. Thus, the protection of women is as the same as the level of protection that the men possess. Ayun po.
I'm sorry, Mr. Joshua, you're addressing this question to
Sir Andaya po.
Sir Andaya. Sir, we do not have Sir Andaya here in the
Sorry.
talk.
The last
Okay, Mr.
my
I
bad.
would like to apologize because Mr. John Cabado is not around. However, we're going to compile all the questions that is nasasagutin mismo ni Sir John Cabado, and we will respond or give you Mr. John Cabado's feedback. Sir, you may type your question na lang po, and then all questions po about with concerning to Mr. John Cabado, i-compile po natin yan. Thank you so much po, Mr. John Joshua. Okay, let's proceed to Mr. Jed Ryan E. Caporal. About sa unang topic po, paano po magkakaroon ng friction sa dalawang condom? Di ba po may lubricant condoms po? Sir Ajong? Sir Ajong na?
Okay. Hello, Mr. Jed Ryan. Thank you for your question. Yeah, I made mention of if there are people who are using double condoms for sexual intercourse, it will rub together. Kaya nag-create po siya ng friction and it creates a hole. Now, paano siya nag-create ng friction if may lubricant naman ng condoms? Now, lubricants are not, there are water-based lubricants and they might dry up. So, pwede din siya. But once mag-dry na yung lubricant, it might create friction na. And it's not an assurance na even though there's a lubricant na, it can still create friction. Especially, condoms are very thin and they are synthetic. So, it's easily get rubs together at mag-create po siya ng friction and hole. Ms. Crystal, I think my question kanina about oral sex, if they can get HIV transmitted ang HIV through oral sex. That's after my talk. I just want to answer that. For oral sex,
Go ahead.
the oral sex is not, it's the lowest risk of getting an HIV if you do oral sex, especially on swallowing the cum or the pre-cum. It's because Once you swallow it, the enzymes and the stomach acid will kill the virus inside once it reaches the esophagus. So no more virus. However, you might get the virus because of the membranes. I mean, the membranes, not cellular membranes. The membranes that is on your mouth are very thin, and even the vaginal and the anal canals are very thin. So once it's ripped or lacerated, it will then enter, the virus might enter in the bloodstream. Okay, so if my open sore or open wound on your mouth, it's possible to get the virus, but very, very low because of the acid on our saliva.
All right, thank you so much, sir. Another question po for you, Sir Nang. How quickly do people infected with HIV develop AIDS?
Okay. According to United Nations Population Fund, the incubation period of HIV to develop AIDS is 2 years. But right now, it can increase depending on the early detection and early treatment of the person of the HIV.
Thank you so much, sir. Salamat po for answering that question. This another question is addressed to Mr. Don, Sir Don. Kasama po ba sa preventive drug goal ng government ay ang pagpatay po sa mga addict?
Pakiulit nga po ulit yung tanong.
Kasama po ba sa preventive drug goal ng government ay ang pagpatay po sa mga addict?
Mabigat po yung tanong na yan. Sa bagay po na yan, wala na po ako sa Philippine National Police at never po namin naging policy yung ganyan extrajudicial killing. Meron po kaming ino-observe na police operational procedures na kung saan nandun po ang proseso ng aming operations. Yung use of excessive force, pinagbabawal po ron. So, I myself, we condone po yung ganong klase ng paggamit ng puwersa because that is considered inhuman. Ganun ko lang po siya sasagutin. Salamat po.
Okay po. Thank you so much, sir. I would also like to share po, if you would still remember our topic in NSTP, it's under the Bill of Rights of the Philippine Constitution that no one shall be deprived of life, liberty, and eklabo. Ganun po. So, dapat po talaga dumadaan ng isang tao sa due process bago po siya, yun po, patayin. Hindi po yun tama. Okay. So, Sir Don, meron pong follow-up question. Malalaman po ba talaga sa physical appearance ng tao kung gumagamit siya ng illegal drugs? Marami po kasing napagkakamalan na gumagamit dahil sa itsura nila. Kung possible pong ma-identify yung mga users through observation lang, ano-ano po yung mga senyales sa katawan nila na dapat tignan? Ayun po.
Okay. Very good question. Hindi naging center ng ating discussion yon kasi in-identify natin yung roles ng youth. So kung may invite ulit ako for another topic, siguro madi-discuss natin. Pero bigyan natin ng konting information base dito sa alam ko. Detection kasi namin bilang mga law enforcement officer, ginagamit rin namin yung physical features o yung looks ng tao. Pero we do not rely much doon. Kasi deceiving yun eh. Akala natin yun na siya. Pero we need to profile. Ang pinaka-importante doon yung profile niya. Let's say, dati, hindi naman siya ganon. Maayos siyang manamit, maayos siya sa pangangatawan. Bakit siya nagkaganon? Kasi nagkaroon siya ng engagement or known association with known drug users or pushers. doon natin malalaman kung ano ang ginamit niyang drugs, illegal drugs. Ito ba ay shabu or yung tinatawag natin methamphetamine hydrochloride na isang tinatawag na upper drugs. Kasi kung upper drug siya, ang effect nyon, loss of appetite. Tapos, syempre, hindi nakakatulog. So kung marijuana naman, yung namumula yung mata, okay, lumalaki yung eyeballs. And then, ang effect naman yun, sometimes, malakas silang kumain. So may, in contrast doon sa isa. Kasi yung marijuana is hallucinogens. May isang drugs naman na downers. So definitely, tulog naman siya ng tulog at nakaka-apekto ito sa structures ng bone niya. So kung ang tanong has something to do with the way they look, kailangan may other form of research ka to determine kung talaga nga siyang gumagamit. May profile or history. Baka kasi makagawa tayo ng isang kwento na hindi naman natin na fact check. So ganun lang. Unless otherwise nahuli na siya, may previous arrest na siya. Okay? So yun yung mga indicators. So kung gumagamit naman siya, baka mamaya talagang yung body physics niya payat talaga siya, di ba? May support or what yung body features niya. So factoring. I cannot say until makita ko siya at maamoy. Kasi sa amoy lang at may titingnan lang ako sa kanya, sa katawan niya, malalaman ko na kagad. Sa kamay niya, malalaman ko kagad kung anong drugs ang ginagamit niya. May mga indicators. So, mahirap i-share dito kasi baka ma-misinterpret.
Alright. Thank you so much po, Sir Don. Last question po for Sir Ajong na. Sir Ajong, can you please share po any words of encouragement for some people who are not open on joining any educational talks on HIV and AIDS awareness and education? Sir Nang?
Thank you so much. Juster Mingito Lumotos, thank you so much. Yeah, my word of encouragement for everyone who are not yet open on joining any educational talks, especially on HIV and AIDS, because maybe they still have reservations or something. As long as it is educational, please do not restrict yourself. Please do not prevent or limit yourself on joining these kind of talks, because even if you're not engaging to these activities, or even if you are not part of any organizations, or the topic doesn't affect you, you don't know, maybe in the future you needed these kind of talks and you needed this kind of education, and nobody can steal that from you. Once you get that knowledge, once you get that wisdom from these kind of talks, you are just investing for yourself. Okay, it doesn't make you less of a person if you join HIV and AIDS educational talks, seminars, or even small sessions. It doesn't make you less of a person. It will humble yourself, and it will make you more mature, and it will make yourself knowledgeable enough of other things, especially HIV and AIDS, which is very rampant in our country. So don't say no to educational talks.
Right? Thank you so much po, Mr. Ajong. Guys, yung mga questions po, yung other questions na hindi po natin address ngayon, ay pwede nyo po yung isend sa inyong mga presidents and i-compile po nila. And we will do our very best po na makapagbigay agad ng feedback. Kasi po it's already 4. And according to our president, we have to cut this open forum na po. Alright? So,
Sorry. Just as promised earlier on my talk, I will give you the link to join this opportunity on World Youth Forum in Sharm el Sheikh, Egypt. I'll send you the link here. Please register and then click on my events and then 2021, register and join the event on 2021. They will send you an email if you are selected and you can go to Egypt for free.
All right, thank you so much, Sir Nang, for that opportunity po. Thank you so much po for sharing that to us. All right, now that we are done with the open forum, we will now proceed to the awarding of certificates. All right? Okay, we'll be proceeding to awarding of certificates. So, ayan. Our speakers really deserve this certificate of appreciation dahil nga naman po sa mga information na binigay talaga nila sa atin na sobrang makakatulong po to help ourselves and to prevent ourselves from something na pagsisisihan natin sa huli. Okay? So this certificate of appreciation is awarded to Mr. Hunwerlo M. Nang for being one of the resource speakers of the National Service Training Program webinar entitled Kamalayan, Tungkulin ng Kabataan sa Makabagong Pamayanan, given this 29th of November 2021 at pamantasan ng lungsod ng Valenzuela Main Campus, Mr. Romulo T. Romo, MSc NSTP Director, and Dr. Nedenia C. Toralva, University of President. Sir, this certificate is for you. Thank you so much po for being part of this webinar session. Okay, next is this certificate of appreciation is awarded to Mr. Donaldo Britanya for being one of the resources speakers of the National Service Training Program webinar entitled Kamalayan, Tungkulin ng Kabataan sa Makabagong Pamayanan, given this 29th of November 2021 at pamantasan ng lungsod ng Valenzuela Main Campus. Mr. Romulo T. Romo, MSc NSTP Director, and Dr. Nedenia C. Toralva, University President. Mr. Britanya, this certificate is for you. Thank you so much po. And lastly, this certificate of appreciation is given to Mr. John A. Cabadu for being one of the resource speaker of the National Service Training Program webinar entitled Kamalayan, Tungkulin ng Kabataan sa Makabagong Pamayanan, given this 29th of November 2021 at pamantasan ng lungsod ng Valenzuela Main Campus. Mr. Romulo T. Romo, MSc NSTP Director, and Dr. Nedenia C. Toralva, University of the President. Mr. John Cabadu, thank you so much for being part of this webinar. All right, also in behalf of the presidents from Freshman, I would also like to thank everyone. Thank you guys, Freshman, first year college, for being part of this webinar. We are hoping na sana may bago kayong natutunan. And for our closing remarks, may I ask Mr. Eduardo Andaya, our NSTP lecturer OIC, PLB Office of the Community Engagement and Extension Service. Sir, go.
Hello. Okay, good afternoon. Naririnig ako? Malinaw?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear po.
Okay. So thank you doon sa mga participants, sa mga sa mga afternoon sessions participants natin. No, hindi kayo nag-give up, no, kahit na around 3 hours yung ating webinar series. Nandiyan pa rin kayo para makinig doon sa tatlo nating speakers. So nagpapasalamat din ako doon sa mga resource speakers natin. Kay Sir Adjung Nang, no, kay Sir Donaldo Britanya, at kay Sir John Cabadu, kay Vice President John Cabadu, para doon sa kanilang pagbibigay ng oras, no, to share their knowledge and expertise regarding doon sa mga pinresent nilang topic, no, especially lalo na dito sa HIV and AIDS awareness, sa drugs and substance abuse awareness, and yung part ng gender and development, which is yung Safe Spaces Act. Lalo na, hindi ako nagkakamali, start ng last week of November, matatapos yun ng December 15, yung ating Free Vow campaign o yung Free Violence Against Women campaign, no, na ipinopropose ngayon or sineselebrate ngayon ng ating estado. Okay? So hindi ko na patatagalin pa lahat. So nagpapasalamat ako sa mga nag-organize, lalo na especially dito sa ating mga ad hoc presidents na walang sawang tumulong para ma-organize itong webinar natin. So more webinars to come at more activities to come under NSTP department. So maraming salamat sa inyo. Kita tayo sa susunod na ating activity.
All right. Sorry, apologies. Apologies. Thank you so much, Mr. Eduardo Andaya, for that closing remarks. All right. Now, please, guys, I'm requesting everyone to please do open your cameras because we will be having our photo opportunity. Please do open your cameras. All right. I am seeing people opening their cameras. Thank you so much. Ayan. Okay. President of Ad Hoc, please, kayo na po kuha ng picture. Okay? And I count of 3, guys. Give your best smile. And 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, another one. 1, 2, 3, smile. All right. Thank you so much, guys, for participating in today's event. We are looking forward to meet you all again in our next webinar session. Sana po may bago kayong natutunan at maraming salamat po sa ating mga NSCP professors for choosing the best speakers na kung saan makukuha natin sila ng bagong knowledge. Sana po may bago kayong natutunan. Ayan, thank you so much again. I cannot express my gratitude enough, but thank you so much po. Speakers, thank you so much. Salute. You may now, guys, leave this call. Have a great day ahead. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Salamat po. Thank you for being part of this event. Ayan. Salamat po.